スポンサーのお送りしました。
Check my comprehensive catalog of crafts. I'm daft, I battle all like I don't have it all. Avant-garde, Battlestar Galactica, got rhymes per capita. I'm shining through the aperture, but I'm not gonna
figured out that Idris Elba was British.
Oh, that fucked me up. That fucks me up.
None of us no caps for ya. That's another genre. I'm the black bomber, track charmer, sack burner, distract burdens. If it ain't that urgent, nerd prince, word sentinel, invisible infidel, innocent.
It's always a privilege to spit with laws. I'm a reality speaker, forget the cars. I'm learning how to teleport to reach the Mars. When you love this and live this, you spit your bars. I spit a quick barrage, switch to all.
Space.
A boy has the right to dream. There are endless possibilities stretched out before him.
You have to trust in your own power.
Whatever happens from now on, you stand firm and face your destiny without fear, but with courage.
What awaits him down the path, he will then have to choose.
No one's gonna give you a map. You've got to walk your own path.
Children leave their homes in search of this quest.
What is thy desire?
As they search, they are always asking questions. What's out there? What's waiting for me?
Why was I made? Who made me? And what did they make me for?
Are you gonna go up into space with your old man or not?
Maybe I'll never get over this.
I've lived my life following my dreams, and I don't have any regrets.
You're gonna just keep running away?
Just keep running away? I'm not running.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Believe in yourself and create your own destiny. Don't fear failure.
But yeah, let's continue.
Slice of Life Anime of the Year, Whack Ass Dress Up Darling, #1.
How is Dress Up Darling whack?
I honestly don't like
It's
it.
just a cosplayer who teases her
Yeah,
boyfriend.
that's just nothing but incel fuel.
Incel fuel?
That
Wow!
anime is whole incel fuel. Let's be real on that.
Incel fuel? Really? Even though he probably fucks the girl at the end?
Probably. I didn't finish it.
I wouldn't say this is incel. I'll say this is anti-otaku stuff because, like, no, it's waifu. It's honestly a waifu anime. Let's all be real. This is made for like the character to attach to the viewer to attach itself to the main character, since the main character is like socially awkward and shit. But my theory still stands about anime.
Incel fuel.
Wow. So socially awkward people are incels? Wow. Dang. Go ahead, King.
No. That's not what I'm 100% saying.
Dang.
That's not what I'm 100% saying.
You hear that, socially awkward boys? You better man the fuck up.
Yeah. Hey. Whoa. Ew. Yeah. Pop me a perk and I go through her wallet. Met her trip like faucet. She let me do what I want cause I'm bossy. She let me do what I want cause I'm awesome. Cut a little beat, awesome, jawsome. We gon' get married like Nas and Khalees. We gon' break up just like
Hey, welcome to today's stream. I know this is randomly on Tuesday that I'm streaming and whatnot, but oddly enough, oh shit, hold on. Why is Wardrow acting up? Where are you, Wardrow? Cancel. There we go. Yeah, but I know it's randomly streaming today or whatnot, but I finished most of my work for the week, and so yeah, fucking, I'm just gonna sit here, chill, do episode 178 while we actually found out the banned Pokemon game that got someone arrested. I want to see what this game is because this has popped up on my radar. It just came out 5 days ago. Let's go.
I've seen a Pokemon that looks something. You may have seen a Pokemon that looks something like this. Its name is Hanoguma, but it doesn't appear in any official Pokemon.
I wonder. It said it doesn't appear, but I wonder if we get this assigned somewhere in the game.
You can't find it in the anime either, nor trading card game or merchandise. If you scoured all 1,025 official Pokemon.
Jesus Christ! 1,025? Hold on. So I have food in my mouth, so like I'm kind of eating like 2 chicken sandwiches, but they're delicious. So I got these breaded chicken strips are so good, and I still have the sauce from Chick-fil-A, and combined with that with some bread, I made my own Chick-fil-A sandwich, and it's so delicious. Just no pickles though, because pickles are gross.
Pokemon designs, you would not find a single one that looks anything like Hanoguma. For all intents and purposes, this Pokemon doesn't exist. Well, technically, there is one game where it appears. It's November 22nd, 1997, at Nintendo's 9th annual Space World event, where upcoming games and consoles are being shown
Look at this in Japan. I wish we had something like this in America, back when I was growing up.
Off to the public. Much of the hype surrounding the event is focused on Game Freak's demo of the upcoming Pokemon Gold and Silver. Upon booting up the demo, players are randomly given one of 3 starters, which means 1/3 of players would make acquaintance with a Fire-type Pokemon named Hanoguma. After Space World, this demo would never be exhibited again. When Gold and Silver came out, Hanoguma was nowhere to be seen. The Fire Bear now only survived through the memories
I thought it was a mouse, but it is what it is.
Space World attendees and a low-res image of its sprite. If Nintendo and Game Freak had their way, Hanoguma would be all but erased from the Pokemon franchise. All video games have content that was cut before the final release, known as proto or beta content. The gaming industry tends to guard this beta content fiercely, only leaking brief glimpses of what could have been to the public. Because of this, beta content represents some of the most elusive information in gaming. But even among a sea of fascinating beta content,
Mario.
Few games are more coveted than that of Pokemon. And when it comes to Pokemon, the holy grail of development secrets is that of the beta Pokemon. Beta Pokemon are the mons that could have been. Sometimes there's but a single pixel of difference between a beta Pokemon and its final iteration. Other times...
Hold on. Where's the pixel? Did he put that on purpose? Did he do that on purpose? There's no way I had that little brown spot there. I think he put that there on purpose. There's no way that's just there. Oh, that's so weird to see. I might even edit it. I don't know.
A pixel of difference between a beta Pokemon and its final iteration.
Now that I see it, I can't unsee it.
Other times, they're completely unrecognizable, or even absent from the final game entirely. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that these designs are among the most sought-after beta content in all of gaming. There's just one small problem. Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo is often regarded as one of the most litigious and copyright-obsessed companies in all of gaming, whether it be striking YouTubers for modding or sometimes just playing their games, fining Gary Bowser millions of dollars for hacking Switch.
Crazy, because that's like, imagine, let me move this over here real quick. Imagine you're this guy, Gary Bowser or whatnot, And fucking, why is your last name got to be Bowser? That's the crazy part. Like, I know the new CEO of Nintendo America's also name is Bowser, but it's so weird that they got two different Bowsers. One works for the company, one hacked the company.
Witches, or frivolously suing Palworld for patent infringement. When it comes to their IP, Nintendo is the last company you want to cross. As you might expect, they're similarly proactive about countering leaks. If you're in the scene of Pokemon leaks, it's a bad idea to get too famous, else you risk Nintendo's wrath. Just beneath the surface of these beta Pokemon lies a heated war of information. And in war, neither side comes out clean. How much would you risk to get your hands on a beta Pokemon?
$2. $2. That's all I want. Just $2. Give me $2 and we should be Gucci.
Would you risk a prison sentence for them?
Maybe not. I want to risk a prison sentence because, like, there's a lot of fan games out there you can just use or whatnot. Like, I play Pokemon Fusions religiously, but I also want to play Insurgents and all the other ones. Also, I would play Pokemon Black online, but, like, that shit's discontinued because that shit got cease and desist. It's crazy. Also, we'd never get, like, a MMORPG game of Pokemon because, like, one... Like, how would it even start? Like, you gotta make the world open world with no limitations. Because the reason why the single game works, like, it's open world, but it has like a lot of limitations to where you could go and everything. Due to like badges, what you can do in the story, the progression in the story or whatnot. Sometimes mechanics will keep you locked out of certain things until you progress and find that certain mechanic. Like, you can do an online Pokemon game. But what you would have to do is you would have to limit the players by badge. But they can go to like every single other town, fight monsters, or let's say like have certain badge or whatnot. But then again, it will be weird because like you have so the way how you have to do leveling in this game and how to catch certain Pokemon, you have to remove the whole like level system or do it in a way where you can only catch like a certain amount of Pokemon on this map or whatnot. And if like you don't have the badge, you don't get like certain Pokemon or something like that. No, because being locked out by a badge is this crazy ass power creep. So my idea would probably be like something that's close to the Digimon MMO, I think. But like it's not like turn-based where you don't put aside instance like you can see like other players catching Pokemon and stuff like that. But it'd be super simplified for players who are on the outside versus players who are on the inside who are actually doing the turn-based battle or whatnot. Or just allow us to move. Or like, I like the Arceus system of doing things where you have to catch a certain amount of Pokemon and do a certain amount of battles or whatnot. And they're not little like gym battles. It's just like, hey, you've seen this many Pokemon, progress to the next area. But I don't want to just be area based. I want to be like full like open world. I want you to be able to like point A, point one. You want to go to A to Z all in one go, but you're not able to do like stuff that's A and Z. Like let's say if you want to get to the last batch right now, or like actually do this, make the batches out of order. So like we could just go to a random gym, get that badge, and like we start to unlock like whatever for that badge without levels. Like just remove the whole level system and have a system to where they still get experience points or whatnot, but after like a certain while, then they start evolving or whatnot. And like you could teach like abilities, like have their full moveset. But no, actually, you want to unlock that too. Like have their whole moveset at stage 1 to stage 2 and stage 3, but have those movesets in those stages where they learn those movesets or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe I'm being just a weirdo.
For most people, the answer is a surefire no. They are, after all, just pixels on a screen. But for a man named Zamis Clark, the answer to that question was yes. On March 9th, 2018, Zamis hacked into Nintendo, stealing gigabytes worth of assets for various games and consoles. Among these, he also got away with hundreds of beta Pokemon and prototype Pokemon games, including the Space World demo. Just 5 months later, he was arrested and charged by police. Nintendo was claiming damages of 1.8
This trap card. Oh, hold on. I gotta show you what I'm playing. This is gonna be on the side. I'm gonna be playing this little game right here. If it, oh wait, that's the split capture. Hiya, 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 hiya. What the fuck is it? Is it this one though? Yes, it is this one. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm pull this up. Yeah, guys, gonna see this in the corner while we're watching this. But that's so big. Oof. Hold on. We gotta resize that real quick. Any is possible. Yeah, I'm right there. We Gucci. We ball.
$1 million. Before Zamis was arrested, he entrusted the data he received with a small group
Wait,
of
did he say Samus? Hold on.
was claiming damages of $1.8 million. Before Zamis was arrested, he entrusted the data he received with a small group of individuals who were tasked with leaking said information to the public without suffering the same fate he did. In theory, being given some of the most prized beta content in gaming is a blessing. But in practice, these prototypes were cursed. Zamis had kicked off a cascade, and the closer you got to the eye of the storm, the more chaos would befall you.
Yo, if this game is, if they're actually talking about a ROM hack game that would add all these Pokemon in it, I would definitely try to find it, because you could definitely find it. It's just not just erased off the internet. Like, the internet has everything. The shit's like an infinite archive where if you know where to look and shit like that. But like, if that's a like actual game, I'll download that shit and play it on stream.
The insanity that followed would eventually culminate in one question for those spectating. What even is the Nintendo Giga League?
That song goes hard.
But first, a word from my very first sponsor, Aura.
Sorry, Aura.
Our story begins on a website called Nemesis Temple, created by the titular Nemesis in November 2003. According to a later post by Nemesis, quote, "It was to become a general-purpose Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh site, with emphasis on the strange aspects of Pokemon. These strange aspects would primarily entail glitches." Despite their success, Pokemon Red and Blue are notoriously buggy games. Even basic mechanics were broken upon release. But while some glitches are relatively minor, others are completely game-breaking.
Missing number, let's go!
Missing No is arguably the most famous glitch in gaming. With a specific setup, the player is able to encounter a placeholder Pokemon, appearing as a bizarre, faceless brick of garbled graphics. Its typing is normal and bird, with the latter not even appearing in normal gameplay, as the bird type was cut during development. But while Missing No is the best known glitch Pokemon, it's far from the only one. In fact, Gen 3 alone has glitch Pokemon numbering in the hundreds.
Yeah, and each one does a different effect. It's crazy.
Of thousands. But we're not quite that unhinged yet. Nemesis Temple was only the first in a lineage of Pokemon glitch-related sites that Nemesis would create. In February 2004, Nemesis Temple would be abandoned in favor of his new site, Professor Glitch's Laboratory. Along with it, he took on a new username, Abwayax. One part of his About Me at the time read, quote, "I'm only 13, but don't mess with me, because I'm
only
probably more
13.
glitch smart than some of you over there." Over the next roughly 2 years, Abwayax would open site after site, each fixating on Pokemon glitches and each closing for various reasons. Over time, these sites would attract a niche but dedicated fan base, who congregated on forums associated with each site. The fans who grew closest to Abwayax would form the core staff behind the final site in the lineage, which he would end up running for more than 10 years. Glitch City Laboratories. Glitch City Laboratories, or GCL, was established in December 2005. Not long after, it would go public, then gain a forum. Named after the Glitch City bug from Gen 1, the site's content followed suit, providing users with in-depth information about various Pokemon glitches. Helping the site gain notoriety was its dexes, cataloging not just glitch Pokemon.
Bro, I love looking at shit like this. So, I wonder.
In the lineage, which he would end up running for more than 10 years. Glitch City Laboratories. Glitch City Laboratories, or GCL, was established in December 2005. Not long after, it would go public, then gain a forum. Named after the Glitch City bug from Gen 1, the site's content followed suit, providing users with in-depth information about various Pokemon glitches. Helping the site gain notoriety was its dexes, cataloging not just glitch Pokemon, but glitch moves and items across multiple games, seeking to provide each entry with its own comprehensive article. The right to create and edit said articles was given to staff members.
Wiki!
However,
It sounds like earlier
users
Wiki.
could also submit their own articles through a submissions board, where they could then be given the okay by staff. If their contributions were considered valuable, they could be allowed to create articles without the need for approval. GCL would become Abwayax's most successful site to date.
I need to
but
remove that card from my deck.
fundamentally, it was still a niche website. The knowledge it featured was obscure, and contributing to it required technical know-how that few people possessed. Still, if you were the type of person who enjoyed perusing a catalog of every single glitch unknown in Gen 2, GCL was probably your favorite website. On March 18th, 2006, a user by the name of Stackout, soon to be known as Wacko, would register his account on GCL at the age of just 11. He would post in the forums for the first time almost 3 months later, and from there became an active user, eventually netting a position as a comment moderator and site staff member. Stackout was autistic and lived in the UK. His technological knowledge was exceptional for his age, and his expertise would only grow with time. His staff page, archived on November 11th, 2007, reads as follows, quote, Stackout, aka Wacko, Wacko Kaus, Wacko ZMC, Wacko ZMC slash Kaus, Wacko ZMC slash Aya, Wacko Kaus slash Aya, Wacko ZMC slash Kaus slash Aya, the Distractor, the underscore Distractor, and T underscore.
What is with these fucking I hate these names.
Or D. Yes, Stackout has many nicks, used everywhere. He loves cracking software and games, so you can hand an oldish game to him and he will give it back to you after a while, able to be played without the CD in. He also loves writing poems and stories, and
I sort of used to do something like this where I used to like borrow people's games and then give it back to them. Or like so there used to be like an old rental place when I first got this apartment. And when I got my laptop in there, I had a disk drive, and I was able to like, cause I had Damien tools at the time. Hey, oh, hey Thriller, thanks for the alert. But no, I had Damien tools inside this PC that I had, right, with the portable disk drive, able to read the DVDs. So what I used to do is used to use Damien tools to rip, and then give back the like DVD the same like week or whatnot. But yeah, I used to have a lot of fucking shit. It's just no lurk command. No, I took that lurk command off because I don't have my Streamlabs bot anymore because the program came obsolete and Windows won't allow me to run it because it keeps on saying it's a virus, even though I had it on my PC for about several years, bro. But yeah, no lurk command until like I figure out until I make one, but it's only gonna be for Miss Payday. But no, we're gonna continue with this.
various English classes, he has wrote 2 stories involving Pokemon, with the opening of a third. They all feature Jared, who got a Rhyhorn from his brother Nicky. After the first story, he disappeared, reappearing in the second only to be caught and trapped by a mysterious character called the Inspector. And in the third,
Inspector's
he actually
wild.
saves his brother from another bad team, almost a copy of Team Rocket.
Oh
he
my
also
God, I'm
loves
dying.
computers and can fix any software-related computer problems you have just by contacting him, on IRC, the forum, or otherwise. If you thought all those nicknames I listed back there were a bit much, don't worry, he has many more.
But yeah, we're watching a video that like was on my radar for like a cool week called the banned Pokemon game that got someone arrested. So I'm trying to figure out what this game is so I can play it.
That came from. But luckily, we don't have to use any of them, because Stackout's real name is Zamus, and in the 2010s, he would make headlines around the world time and time again. North Korea is a notoriously
Not North Korea
country, and this extends to their native computer operating system, Red Star OS. In 2014, its newest release was Red Star 3.0, built from Linux Fedora 11. Being from North Korea, no one outside the country had access to it, or at least, that's how it was supposed to be. On June 1st, 2014, Zamus, under the username Slipstream, posted to r/Linux,
I'm gonna eat dinner. Alright, fam.
Quote, I managed to get a hold of the latest version of that North Korean Linux distro. In some shape or form, here's a torrent of Red Star OS 3.0 server. The post came with a Pirate Bay link, which led to a torrent link and a readme. It begins with ASCII art reading out Red Star, before continuing, quote, Red Star OS 3.0 server x86 cracked. Don't ask me how I got this. I do not have the desktop version, just the server version. But since this is the first ever leak of Red Star OS server, and the first ever leak of Red Star 3.0, why aren't you—
Yeah, I think Americans always had access to Red Star or whatnot after this drop. I don't think we just ever used it because how fucking bloatware and how fucking— I think Mutahar did a video on this program or whatnot. And yeah, this shit has a bunch of like shit in it that's not like healthy for the normal consumer to use. Who messaged me? May. Hold on.
You thanking me already? Enjoy Slipstream. P.S. You mad DPRK? If you like this, tip me Dogecoins. Though Red Star 2.0 had made the rounds years prior, the leak was still remarkable, and it would only grow even more so, because on December 29th, 2014, he would post to r/Linux once again, bearing the desktop retail version of Red Star 3.0 as opposed to the version meant to run on servers. This time, he linked a pastebin, which takes on a brazen and mocking tone towards Red Star and North Korea, sarcastically calling it Best Korea.
Best Korea is crazy.
Last leak, he asks to be tipped in Dogecoins, but this time, he also links an internet relay chat, or IRC, called Ring of Lightning, asking readers to discuss the leak with him there. Ring of Lightning was an IRC channel frequented by tech-savvy individuals, where Zamus chatted under the name Rai-chan. Any questions people had about the nature of these leaks would be answered on January 12th, 2015, when NK News would release an interview with Zamus under the title Hacker Claims to Have Cracked North Korea's Intranet. A sample of it reads as follows, quote, NK News, what's the media attention been like so far? Slipstream. It's been good enough, I guess. It's a shame that I wasn't contacted more.
You to fucking take that card out.
The link in the
Card's a death trap.
README. What were your motives for the hack? Was this a political thing or just for fun? I wanted to see if I could proxy through into DPRK's national intranet. Also, I got bored, etc.
Yeah, no, most of this shit comes from boredom. Like, the reason why a lot of black hats just said fuck it is because, like, usually they're not bored enough. If we had a black hat that was out there that was really bored, everything would go right now. But usually American black hats are like, you know, for the country, I assume. I hope they are.
How did you go about getting hold of the OS? I actually got given it by, let's say, someone on Reddit, who I was contacted by a few months after I leaked server, completely out of the blue. You say you've been
I'm taking way
pulling
too much
data
damage
out
from
of
this deck.
DPRK's ass since 2014. What other materials have you found? Is there more to come? I'd rather not talk about what other stuff I found, at least right now. I do have other things though, including what I think is source code for sites on DPRK's national intranet. It's a shame I never did proxy through to it, as judging by what I have, if I did, I'd probably have shells or root on most of the country. Reading between the lines, it can be gathered that Zamis likely found the server version of the OS through his own hacking endeavors, while he was given the desktop version by a quote-unquote Reddit user. But what's
Not
more
Reddit user.
fascinating is his claim of just barely missing out on having root access on most of the country. Root access, or administrator privilege, is the highest level of control.
Yo, imagine you're a hacker and you're like, hey fam, I wonder what happened if I were to go to, let's say, ace in the hole, at one random ace suit. Let's say you're just a random hacker and you just stumbled on fucking on North Korea's internet. Fucking, you know what this shit I'm about to do, bro? I'm about to be like, hey, CIA, FBI, I need some money. I can help you put a backdoor in here. Just give me $100 million, and I'll be Gucci. I know you have it in your budget. You know, take it out the fucking, the Republican budget. I know they have it. Take it off from rich people's taxes or everything like that, and just give me $100,000. I'll definitely do the shit. But I'm not a hacker, so like I'm too retarded to be a hacker.
You can have over a system, and allows you to act nearly without restriction, including making alterations to the operating system itself. At just 20 years old, Zamis had already obtained an absurd amount of power through his hacking abilities, but the way he wielded this power would get him in trouble time and time again. On February 12, 2015, the British government enacted the Counter-Terrorism and Security Act 2015. Yes, this is still a Pokemon video. It decreed, among others,
That's crazy. Hold on, I was looking at a little. That shit was funny.
You to act nearly without restriction, including making alterations to the operating system itself. At just 20 years old, Zamis had already obtained an absurd amount of power through his.
So what does that have to do with Pokemon? Or is this the accolades of this person right here to tell us what kind of hacker he is? If so, it's working, but like what the fuck does that have to do with Pokemon?
Hacking abilities, but the way he wielded this power would get him in trouble time and time again.
Time after time.
On February 12, 2015, the British government enacted the Counter-Terrorism and Security Act 2015. Yes, this is still a Pokemon video. It decreed, among other things, that by July 1st of that year, teachers would have a legal duty to prevent students from being radicalized into terrorism. Controversy ensued, but British company Impero Solutions wanted schools to know that they were up to the task. They were the creators of Education Pro.
Oh no! Don't tell me there was a fucking there was something that was wrong with this program where they make them do a backdoor into this. Oh shit! No way there was a flaw in this program. I don't know what this program is, but I'm assuming there's probably gonna be like a flaw in this program that makes the home dude able to get to a backdoor.
A classroom monitoring software designed to keep students on task while on school computers, and now to prevent online radicalization. On April 15th, in a now deleted blog post, Impero wrote about how Education Pro can catch radicalization as it's happening, using keyword detection and the ability to view everything students are doing on their screens in real time. As the July 1st deadline grew closer, Impero was gaining traction in the media, but this wave of attention would soon backfire on them. Education Pro had a glaring security oversight, and Zamis had just made it public. On June 12th, he tweeted, quote, whatever. Here's a proof of concept for Impero. Remote code execution as systems on all Windows clients. Yeah, it's bad. Linked in the tweet was a write-up he'd done on GitHub explaining how to hack into the monitoring system of any school using Education Pro. Quote, if you're unsure what Impero is, it's essentially a corporate/educational remote access Trojan. They recently were in the news about how they implemented anti-radicalization shit or something. They had a booth at BET back in January. They gave out donuts. Those were...
Wow, so... Damn, that's crazy. Oh, fuck, I think I'm dead. I'm at 4, guys. Oh, no. Okay. Yes, let's go. GG's, you got out of here. We're still dead, though.
When I asked about
we don't have enough health for this unless, like, I force my opponent to do like stupid stuff.
Impero is completely pwned, am I right? He then goes on to
explain actually, no, we're good, we're good. We're not dead, we're good.
Schools were being connected to Impero's servers with a default password of... password.
Oh, that's crazy, bro. Bro, no. That's where the joke comes from? That's so dumb. Like, damn, that's crazy. At least be like some numbers or like some layers of numbers.
Use Impero, please don't. Oh yeah, free speech for the win. Internet censorship is insert some expletives here. And so are any and all rats. The exploit would allow the user to execute malicious code on any device connected to the network. Due to the public way in which the exploit
I got
was
one health
revealed,
left.
Impero needed to act fast. They issued a hotfix, which Zamis immediately circumvented.
No, it's a draw game. He
lived! And
lived!
wrote an email warning Impero that their systems were still vulnerable. In response, Impero threatened to sue him. On July 13th, Impero emailed Zamis a letter of claim through the legal firm Gately. They claimed that his actions had constituted copyright infringement, breach of contract, and breach of confidence. In the damages section, they write, quote, "You have enabled anyone to breach the security of our client's software program and write destructive files to disrupt numerous software..."
But it's your fault! You're the fucking people who had this flaw. Like, if they were so lucky that he's not malicious and didn't say anything, because he actually says something here. Just having them, this is why we should have better internet security, or this better security just overall. And we need to hire like actual like black hats and hackers and stuff like that to help with the security and shit like that. So like those people will have jobs and shit. But it is what it is.
Systems throughout the UK. The loss and damage to our clients caused by your activities is significant and will in any legal action taken in the civil courts be the subject of applications to the court for restraining orders to restrict you from further copyright infringement and breach of confidence, as well as court orders for monetary compensation. In order to mitigate the damage caused to some extent, our clients require the immediate takedown of the GitHub gist posting, all relevant tweets by you concerning our client's software, and the removal from public view of all other material comprising confidential information about our client's software. We therefore await confirmation from you by 17 July 2015 that you have done this. Yours faithfully, Gately PLC. The press soon picked up the story. Though journalists disapproved of how Zamis publicized the exploit, they were largely sympathetic, framing him as a well-intentioned underdog being bullied by a large company. Initially, Zamis was unsure what he would do about the legal threat. However, he eventually acquiesced to Impero's demands, and nothing came of it. But while Zamis had gotten off scot-free this time, it was becoming clear that his pastime of hacking was ruffling the wrong feathers. The longer he evaded punishment, the more daring his hacks became. And soon, this would lead him to become the subject of global news on a scale he had not yet experienced. I'm of course talking about the VTech scandal. VTech is a children's toy company. 5 guesses as to what their gimmick is. Many of their toys rely on internet functionality, requiring parents to set up an account with them. What these parents didn't know, however, was how poorly protected not only their data was, but that of their children.
Yeah, so I heard a little bit about this. I think Internet Today covered this. And yeah, the shit was fucked, bro.
In mid-November 2015, Vice motherboard journalist Lorenzo Franceschi Baichiarai was contacted by someone who claimed to have hacked into many of VTech's databases. The purported scale of the breach was enormous, but the most frightening aspect was the possibility of children's private data being open to the public. If this hacker was telling the truth, it would be one of the biggest cybersecurity scandals to date. So, Lorenzo sent the data to Troy Hunt, creator of HaveIBeenPwned.com, who was able to confirm that the breach was legit.
Yeah, I love this guy right here. If you don't take anything from this video, bookmark the site that I saw Have I Been Pwned and like put it like it's a website to check if your email is on any other websites or anything like that, or old websites that you have used that has been like your data has been put out there and shit like that. It is a really good website. It's 100% free. Don't take any data or whatnot because they already have your data. Not already have like the maliciously, but like fucking it comes to like every single website to find these email addresses and stuff like that. And also I think it goes into a not a system, I think it's directory or some shit like that. I don't know.
Was about to face the music. After some struggle, on November 24th, Lorenzo successfully contacted VTech about the leak. They were unaware of the breach until Lorenzo's message, but after some internal investigation, they discovered it had occurred on November 14th. 3 days later, the story would go public. VTech put out a statement on their website acknowledging the incident, albeit in a manner that downplayed the true extent of the damage, making no mention of children's data being breached. On the same day, Lorenzo released his article. Immediately afterwards, Troy Hunt put out a blog post about the incident. Both were scathing. VTech encrypted their passwords using a method known as MD5, which is notoriously insecure and easily reversible. To make matters worse, the secret questions and answers used to circumvent the password in the event the user forgets it were stored in plain text, meaning you don't even need the password in the first place. This is not to mention that the leak allowed for children to be definitively linked to their parents. On top of this, they just generally had terrible web security, rendering infiltrating their systems a stunningly simple task. Yet somehow, it gets even more disturbing. One of VTech's products is the InnoTab line, a portable tablet that allows children to text other InnoTab owners, as well as their parents' phones, with the Kid Connect app. On November 30th, Lorenzo put out another article entitled, "Hacker Obtained Children's Headshots and Chat Logs from Toy..."
Yo, so Vice is malicious when it comes to shit like this. So like, don't take anything from the Vice website with a grain of salt. I think right now the site's gone. I think they still got the YouTube, but like Vice used to be like really anti-Japanese, and then we found out like later on, the fucking CEO of Vice is actually really just terrible person actually.
Maker VTech. It's just as bad as
now. It's only internet that's saying this. I'm not saying this. If there's evidence showing that he didn't like say those things or do those things or whatnot, then I'll take it. Then I'll actually say that's definitive. But this is all allegedly.
Headline makes it out to be. While setting up their InnoTab profile, children are encouraged to take pictures of themselves. These images were stored in VTech's databases, which were now compromised. Children sent each other messages, which VTech stored, which were now compromised. Children could record voice messages to send to each other, which VTech stored, which...
Ooh, why? I hate when people give... I don't think kids should have access to the internet, like, at all. And this is me just saying, since I'm someone who grew up with the internet and stuff like that, I don't think anybody who's under the age of like fucking 18 should have a fucking email or have any kind of access to the internet.
Which were now compromised. Lorenzo quoted the hacker as writing, "I can get a random Kid Connect account, look through the dump, link them to their circle of friends, and the parent who registered at Learning Lodge, VTech's app store. I have the personal information of the parent and the profile pictures, emails, passwords, nicknames of everyone in their Kid Connect contacts list." That same day, VTech suspended their Learning Lodge app store and other affected websites. In the end, the data of over 6 million children were compromised, including their birth date, name, and gender. This is in addition to a plethora of information about their parents. Embroiled in the middle of this controversy was the hacker themselves, who was able to gain root access to VTech's web and database servers thanks to their garbage web security. And, oh my god, this just in, the hacker is Zamis Clark! Who would have guessed? Yet despite the horrific nature of the hack, to an outside observer, it was hard to call Zamis malicious. Lorenzo writes in his first article, quote, "On Friday, I asked the hacker what the plan was for the data, and they simply answered,
5, 6.
nothing." The hacker claims to have shared the data
I'm getting
only
all
with
that health
Motherboard,
back.
though it could have easily been sold online. Zamis had apparently learned from the Impero debacle.
Oh,
In
I'm
a
not gonna
later Vice
fucking
interview,
do this shit
he
to
claimed,
with this
quote,
game.
"I just want issues made aware of and fixed." He didn't take any public credit for the hack, asking to remain anonymous in the article, although he still couldn't help himself from posting about it on Twitter and
And that's when like people would get like really like, cause like I don't know, we have human beings like the gloat. I don't know why.
Reddit, pretending to
Like if we did something that's awesome, like low key, keep it to yourself, but at the same time, people love to like give out extra information. But then again, people gonna be like, nobody cares, and I'm gonna be like, nigga, then why you comment, nigga? Stop speaking for others. Speak for yourself.
To be an outside observer. But with the story gaining more and more attention, it was inevitable that interest would turn to who exactly was behind the hack. Even if his intentions weren't malicious, he had
There's
still
no
committed a
survivability with this
crime,
deck.
and though he had avoided consequences in the past, his luck was about to run out. On December 15th, Zamis Clark was arrested by the Southeast Regional Organized Crime Unit, or SAROSU, for unauthorized access to a computer. At an unknown point, perhaps from the very beginning, Zamis confessed everything to the police. Well, I guess I spoke too soon about his luck running out. Miraculously, VTech did not want to assist in the prosecution. Possibly because they were being investigated by the FTC for their COPPA violations, which were only exposed because of Zamis himself.
Damn, get fucked! Yo, that is a win. If I would have been in the situation that I was at Zamis, I'm like, that's a win-win. Fuck those guys.
On November 1st, 2016, Zamis was given a formal adult police caution, meaning he basically got off with a stern talking to. For the second time, Zamis had been spared not only a prison sentence, but any punishment whatsoever. The story could have ended here, but it seems Zamis likes pushing his luck. While I've had to explain what Red Star, Impero, and VTech are, I doubt I need to do the same for his next hacking target. On January 24th, 2017, Zamis infiltrated a Microsoft server using an internal username and password. He then uploaded a type of malicious file known as a web shell, which is interpreted by a server as code, allowing the uploader remote access. With the use of more
get that car
web
out of here,
shells,
bro.
Zamis was able to scour
Fuck.
Microsoft's network in secrecy. He eventually put his focus on pilfering a specific type of file, pre-release versions of Windows. In the end, he made off with approximately 43,000 files. Afterwards, Zamis told others about the hack through IRC, which allowed them to gain access to the servers as well. This included a friend of his from the UK named Thomas Hounsell. Hounsell was well known in certain tech circles for his research on developer builds of Windows, which he hosted on his website BuildFeed. He also frequented the Ring of Lightning IRC with Zamis. Zamis went undetected on the servers up until March, when he uploaded malware and disappeared amid the carnage. For a few months, it seemed as if Zamis had gotten away with it, but this relative quiet wouldn't last. On June 22nd, for the second time, Zamis was arrested by SAROSU. Since Hounsell also lived in the UK, he too would be arrested for the hacking. That same day, police put out a statement. Quote, Serosu Arrest 2 was part of internal investigation into unauthorized access.
I don't know, is that unfair? Yeah, is that unfair? I need to know, is that unfair or not?
Access to the Microsoft N. A 22-year-old man from Lincolnshire was arrested on suspicion of gaining unauthorized access to a computer. A 25-year-old man from Bracknell was arrested under Computer Misuse Act offenses. The investigation relates to the unauthorized intrusion into networks belonging to Microsoft. Detective Sergeant Rob Bryant from Serosu's Cybercrime Unit, which led the UK warrants, said, "We are working closely with our colleagues in EMSO, Microsoft
they took my
Cyber
card.
Team, the FBI, Europol, and the NCCU to investigate these offenses. This group is spread around the world, and therefore the investigation is being coordinated with our various partners. We've seized a number of devices. We are still in the early stages of this investigation, and will work with our partners to ensure that cybercriminals have no place to hide." From here, the hack and subsequent arrests hit the press. Despite their names being withheld, what information had been revealed immediately made Ring of Lightning suspect that the hackers were Zamis and Hounsel. Ring of Lightning was evidently not one of the IRCs led in on the intrusion, as its members were completely blindsided by the story. Well, everyone except one member. Amid the rest of the channel's surprise, Kotori explains that Zamis had informed him about the hacking to some degree, even handing him some of the loot, though he claims that at the time, he didn't know whether to believe Zamis. He also described an incident where Hounsel and a few other people were panicking after Microsoft blocked them from accessing, quote, Skype and whatnot. Though Kotori mentioned some others he thinks are at risk of arrest and theorizes about where the hacked information was hosted, in the end, there's no way to verify.
I'm dead here,
any
but
of
this
it,
I got his
and
card.
To my knowledge, no one else has been legally implicated for the hack. Zamis was later G-lined by Kotori for cybercriminal activity, the maximum ban on IRC. He had been friends with the members of Ring of Lightning for years, and now he had just been banished from it. That same day, the Register reported that 32 terabytes of private Windows data was leaked onto betaarchive.com. The leak included pre-release builds of Windows, among other things. By August 13th, Zamis and Hounsel had been released on bail. Their G-line was also reversed, but they both still awaited trial. Oh yeah, this video's about Pokemon. Nearly forgot for a second there. Let's check back on Glitch City Labs as of 2017. GCL had now long switched to a wiki format. Despite how much time had passed, many members from the early days were still active, including Zamis, a testament to how tight-knit the community was. The site aged up with its users, now even sporting its own manual of style. This persistence led to arguably the most important change. Many of GCL's members had spent significant portions of their lives breaking apart Pokemon. Not only that, but knowledge of the game's inner workings had strictly improved since the site's youth. All of a sudden, GCL had found themselves on the cutting edge of Pokemon glitch research, and this would be demonstrated on January 10th, when a user would create one of the most notable posts on the entire site, obtaining Arceus via the Void glitch. Arceus is a Generation 4 Pokemon that is unobtainable through normal play. Though other unobtainable Pokemon had been found through glitches before, Arceus still eluded the community. Until Ganix came along.
Oh, is Ganix the... Damn, imagine you're being a hacker who does like Windows and stuff like that to learn all the way up to fucking, hacking video games and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. Like, mind you, I love when like shit's data mined and stuff like that, or when like it's like a single player game that's being hacked to like show like certain weird shit. Like I like the funny ass shit that the people did in Elden Ring, but like they were doing to other players too, which sucked. But no, games like Pokemon and finding like hitting shit like this, getting like different like fucking unlocking event codes without like using the event thing or whatnot, which is crazy. But no.
Nix, otherwise known as Cryo, had recently returned to GCL on a new account after a more than 6-year hiatus from his old one. When he wasn't making goofy websites, he was breaking Pokemon games. The video he linked on the post demonstrating the glitch looks incomprehensible to the untrained eye, with seemingly arbitrary steps taken to encounter the legendary Pokemon. But beneath the surface, the strategy was nothing short of genius. On Ganix's prior account, he called himself the Tweak Master, which just so happens to be the first of 3 glitches he needed to find Arceus. How to tweak in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Step 1. Bike fast. Tweaking causes map data to be improperly loaded. By tweaking in a particular way, the player can activate the second glitch, voiding. The void is an out-of-bounds area with some unique properties, namely that walking in void alters your position in RAM. Since the map ID is read from RAM, with some planning, you can effectively teleport anywhere you want. These 2 glitches were already well known before Ganix's post, but it's the third glitch which was the most shocking, as it was the first documented instance of the retire trick. Retire is a menu option typically only available in one area in the entire game, the PAL Park, used to instantly leave said park. But if you can get the retire option to appear in any other area, clicking it will activate the 4th script of the map. Ganix alters the map ID to that of the PAL Park, gaining the retire menu option. Then, he changes the ID to the Hall of Origin, where Arceus resides. By doing things this way, he keeps the retire option even though the map ID has changed. The Hall of Origin only has 3 map scripts. However, the script in the second slot is actually loaded twice, appearing again in the 4th slot. And it just so happens that running that script causes this to happen.
Oh, this is music. That's crazy.
The community congratulated Ganix on his discovery. His video demonstrating the glitch also went viral, and currently sits at over 900,000 views. But this was far from the end of his glitch hunting endeavors. Namely, he and the community had their sights set on something else entirely. Arbitrary code execution, otherwise known as ACE. ACE may very well be the most powerful type of glitch there is. It allows the player to write their own custom code in-game and then run it. The most powerful ACEs even affect games outside of the one it was performed in. The most popular way to use ACEs is to insta-beat the game, but crazier implementations of it can involve playing Tetris. In Pokemon. Obviously.
That's crazy.
From the footage on screen, ACE in Generation 4 was eventually found, but in 2017, though all 3 prior gens had ACE, this was not the case for Gen 4. Finding ACE in Gen 4 was the current holy grail of Pokemon glitches, and Ganix thought he had an in, what he dubbed the Cascade glitch.
Yo, look at this fucking art, this form art.
Ganix thought he had an in, what he dubbed the
Look at this shit, this is so fucking cool. Like, I want to learn how to, like, do artwork like this, but, like, yeah.
Cascade glitch. The Cascade glitch utilizes a form of tweaking named for its chaotic and unpredictable results. Typically, it results in either a crash or the complete deterioration of the game. But Ganix believed that if the glitch's power could be properly harnessed, it could be the gateway to Gen 4 ACE. The possibility tantalized the community. After all, arbitrary code execution is where all your dreams come true. But beneath the surface, a different kind of cascade entirely was brewing. On March 9th, 2018, Zamis Clark, while on bail, hacked into Nintendo's servers. Knowing the likelihood of being caught, he distributed the loot to a few select groups and people.
Boss
Zamis
music playing.
and those he chose now had full reign to decide when the cascade would commence. In early 2018,
I'm about to play
few
boss
beta
music.
Pokemon were known to the public, and of those, only a tiny fraction were from the Generation 2 1997 Space World demo. You know, that thing I talked about all the way back in the intro. Though some footage of it exists, the most widely spread source of Space World knowledge was these drawings. It's a common misconception that these are official Game Freak concept art. In actuality, they're almost certainly from a fan who played the Space World demo and shortly after drew the Pokemon they saw. Consequently, these are actually slightly misremembered versions of their designs. Even our old friend Hanaguma's looking a bit off. The Space World demo felt impenetrable. It was known only through whispers and memories, with little being concretely known. Until Zamis got his hands on it. Pret is a Discord server dedicated to disassembling and decompiling Pokemon games.
This motherfucker. Oh, I drew another one. That's so dumb. That's so dumb.
Into a more human readable format. On May 26th, Zamis, under the name, posted in hashtag PokeCrystal, quote, "I heard you liked Protos," immediately followed by a Firefox send link which contained both the gold and silver Space World 97 demos. The link was set to automatically expire after 20 downloads, which message history suggests took less than an hour. One of these 20 downloads went to a member named Sanekui. Sanekui is a respected figure in the prototype community. Most notably, they're an admin on the Cutting Room Floor, or TCRF, a wiki dedicated to researching cut content from video games. Sanekui would later write about the
Lock
event,
that in.
quote, "It was an afternoon and I was at an event with our friends. The event was just about to end when a friend sent me a link and told me to download it immediately. I was busy, but it took only one screenshot to convince me to do so. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was the prototype. I remember that just a few weeks before then, I was telling people about the rough development Gold and Silver has seen, and how I would give a kidney for a prototype. And here it was, right in front of my eyes. I remember how I sat on my laptop there, simply coordinating and working on this while my friends were packing things around me. Eventually, I was
I'm not getting the
basically
damage from
surrounded by
doing that.
boxes. But I insisted. This is really important. Nobody knew the identity
Oh, no,
of
he's
the
dead.
leaker, nor the illegal truth of how he'd obtained the Space World demo. Steadily, Pret members would join the channel, realizing that something historic had just occurred. But to those lucky few who downloaded the demo in time, Sanekui wanted to get in touch with you. With a prototype this coveted, Sanekui wanted it to have a proper release.
Fuck, I'm
This led
taking
to a
damage every
decision
other
that
fucking
would
turn.
soon prove controversial. Sanekui
But no, I'm just gonna
wanted
sit
to
here and just gain a bunch of
temporarily
health.
hoard the Space World demo. Hoarding refers to withholding video game prototypes.
So
and
I'm gonna take 2
related
damage for a bit until we get our
information
2
from the
things, then we're gonna
public.
gain a bunch of
It's
health from
also
that,
VP's
and keep
favorite
going until
word. The term implies selfish intent,
Oh,
but
shit.
not all hoarding is the same. In this
Yeah.
instance, Sanekui wanted to form a team who could comb through the demo to discover and document all the important information it contained. Then, all this information could be listed on places like TCRF for ready consumption. But why does all this need to be done
Oh, does this
before
go?
its release? Why
They do
not
go into
after?
discard.
Well,
Wow.
It was to fight the greatest evil of all. YouTubers. Despite our fancy editing,
No! Oh, I
YouTubers
didn't mean
are
to do
far
that.
more adept at
No!
spreading mis-
No. I didn't mean to do that. I fucking clicked on the wrong thing. But no, here's a rewind a little bit.
information that how I would give a kidney for a prototype. And here it was, right in front of my eyes. I remember how I sat on my laptop there, simply coordinating and working on this while my friends were packing things around me. Eventually, I was basically surrounded by boxes. But I insisted. This is really important. Nobody knew the identity of the leaker, nor the illegal truth of how he'd obtained the Space World demo. Steadily, Pret members would join the channel, realizing that something historic had just occurred. But to to those lucky few who downloaded the demo in time,
Oops, I didn't even do that.
Saint wanted to get in touch with you. With a prototype this coveted, Saint wanted it to have a proper release. This led to a decision that would soon prove controversial. Saint wanted to temporarily hoard the Space World demo.
What? Oh.
Hoarding refers to withholding video game prototypes and related information from the public. It's also VP's favorite word. The term implies selfish intent, but not all hoarding is the same. In this instance, Saint wanted to form a team who could comb through the demo to discover and document all the important information it contained. Then, all this information could be listed on places like TCRF for ready consumption. But why does all this need to be done before its release? Why not after? Well, it was to fight the greatest evil of all, YouTubers. Despite our fancy editing,
Yeah, it sucks because during that time when like people were like streaming Nintendo games, a lot of people were getting hit for streaming classic Nintendo games and games that they don't even support anymore like that. So it's like you played a game that was on the Nintendo system, you get hit for that shit, which is wild. Because that means you can play Bayonetta. But no, Nintendo was wild on this shit. A couple more companies were wild on that shit too. Because like, oh man, I think it's the Angry Video Game Nerd that got hit the most, I think. I gotta see his shit because I think he messaged you or something like that.
YouTubers are far more adept at spreading misinformation than its counterpart. Those on Pret wanted to break the story before, you know, the YouTubers could pull a normal one. So, Saint started up a new private Discord server to coordinate a release in secret. Quickly, recipients of the demo and other trusted members were invited. Together, they formed what would later be known as Team Space World.
Team Space World's crazy.
A Team Space World member named Marcus later wrote that if it took longer than a month for them to prepare a public release, he planned to leak the ROM himself. So, the deadline is roughly June 26th. How much could go wrong?
Wait, what ROM are they building?
In 1 month.
A lot of shit. Also, for those who want to make, hey Seimei, for those who want to make Pokemon games in like Engine or RPG Maker or whatnot, don't say shit. Get the group together or whatnot who knows what the fuck they're doing. Go a little bit into the community or whatnot, find a couple people who want to do it or whatnot. Like, actually, you can get people from other communities, from other Pokemon communities to help you and shit like that. Get a squad together, do this shit in like, what, 4 to 12 weeks, and just bring up like updates and shit like that every now and then. Because the reason why I say this is because once you say some shit, gaming companies are going to look at you. Yes, you, the person who made the Reddit post.
May 27th goes well. Many new team members are added to help speed the project along. Even Zamis, on his leaker account, is a member of the server, and is in on their plan to keep the demo under wraps. Weather update, there's a leak.
Weather
It's
update.
on 4chan's Pokemon
Weather update.
board, VP. Here, an anonymous user posts a screenshot of the player in their bedroom. They then write, quote, "That's all I feel comfortable with leaking right now. I don't have it." Someone else posted these images privately. I can't even be sure myself that it's the real thing. Please don't let this spread too much or they might not release
Yeah, whenever you're in VP, you're going to see shit like this just in VP, just all the leaks and whatnot. Oh, fuck.
It will be a big scene release. I heard it would take about a month to release. You didn't hear this from me. Immediately after, the first beta Pokemon from the demo would be leaked, as they posted Hanoguma's sprite displayed in crisp detail for the very first time. Even as more screenshots were posted, many in the thread were skeptical of the leak's legitimacy. Just what was going on? Apparently, screenshots from the demo were being passed around privately. The thread's OP happens to be in one of these private chats, and in their excitement, decided to publicize them.
Damn, good leak, but damn.
But paradoxically, OP would continue to reiterate, don't let the news get too big. But apparently, Saint also had a hard time keeping quiet. On the 27th, they had tweeted, quote, "If you're a Pokemon fan, me and a group of people got our hands on something tremendously valuable. Release is on the horizon." Once VP discovered this tweet, the consensus became that the leak was legit. Immediately, a rumor begins that the demo originated from a recently deceased Japanese collector. According to the story, part of said collection ended up in a shop in Hokkaido, which then shipped them out for the contents of the
Crazy that like this is why I like 4chan, because 4chan, how was your day? My day was odd. I did go out for a bit and I came back, did a bunch of work, and yeah, now I'm here streaming. I was chilling in Discord with the homie, but she had to go or whatnot. But yeah, I just been chilling.
Cartridge to be dumped, which were now about to be leaked online.
We watched a video on this lady getting smacked. So it's two ladies doing an interview on the street. One of the ladies pro-choice, the other lady was pro-life, and they started talking over each other. And then even though I don't think it's snacks. Ooh, what snacks you get? Even though the lady was putting words in her mouth, they were just talking over each other, and she didn't realize that she said something, and it's like she said something like trying to overtalk her or whatnot, and it was a bad time for both people. One of the persons who was the aggressor fucked her day up, bro. It was crazy. Made her bleed and shit like that. Hit her with a phone. Gave her that 2-piece combo. Felt bad for that girl in that dress. She got attacked all because of her views, and now she's gonna hate other people who are pro-choice. Thank you. Thank you for putting hands on that woman and making her hate other people who are pro-choice, so we don't have an under fucking standing. But yeah, I posted a full video somewhere in Discord. I gotta go find it. But yeah, we're watching a video on this guy who got arrested for posting a bad game. And we're in the middle of it right now. This video's 2 hours. So like, yeah, I'm gonna be watching this for like 4 hours. And while playing a video game on the side. Now the video game that I'm playing is called Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers. It's like Bocciaro, but it's blackjack. And you don't have a bunch of jokers everywhere and stuff.
Since the story was unsubstantiated,
And it's a roguelike.
Most people dismissed it, immediately bought it hook, line, and sinker. Soon, it spread so far that its source was effectively obfuscated. To its believers, this collector was another filthy hoarder to get mad about. Senqui tweets, quote, "A bit of a more formal announcement. We have a well-known demo on our
Cheeses, Twix, salted caramel, cookies, cotton candy, ice cream, and Coke. Also got a griddle witch for breakfast tomorrow, and a Mexican corn and some Mexican corn. Mexican corn. I miss Mexican corn so much. So which Twix are you eating? The right one or the left one?
hands. Documentation is in progress and a release is planned in 1 month with a full English translation patch, but the replies indicate that people already knew what was up. Contrary to OP's wishes, the news had spread, and it would only continue to do so. Soon, a second leaker joined the thread, but this time, they had something that nobody had ever seen before, even in footage of the event. A beta sprite of Pichu, looking much rounder.
Yo, look at Pichu, looks so adorable! I want one. I want one in my house right now. I want that little Pichu in my house now. They're both the same, but which one do you go for first, the right or the left one though?
Than it does in the final game. A new thread.
Oh wait, Sammy, do you know about that stupid ass fucking meme? Eating spaghetti right now, no garlic bread. Oh, got garlic bread. Oh, I haven't had garlic bread in a minute. I should get some Texas toast and make like not a cheeseburger with it, but a grilled cheeseburger. But I gotta figure out how to make that though. I gotta go step by step. It's not gonna be quick because that's a lot of bread, like a lot of fucking bread.
Was started. However, the first thread's OP had joined this one, uncomfortable with how quickly the news was spreading. Quote, "Guys, please don't make this a regular thing. I've seen dudes on Twitter posting about this now. We don't want this to get out because it could jeopardize the release of the ROM." This did little to stop the spread. An anonymous poster leaks the Super Game Boy border for the Silver demo. The
No. Why are you leaking this?
Hype keeps building. At this point, pressure
I would, but like burgers though. Cause like I can make oh hey, I can make Chinese tomorrow. I'll make that in like a couple of days. I'm thinking I'm gonna make this pasta. Yeah, cause bitch, no, I'm gonna make chili dogs tomorrow. Yeah, chili dog.
is mounting within Team Space World. The leaks
I'm really
are
high right
becoming
now.
a problem, but there's nothing they can do.
Edible earlier. I carbonized more weed for eating and stuff like that, and yeah, shit's like really got me, bro. Like it comes in really late cause this time I use potatoes and like takes like a couple of hours, but yeah. Am I talking too much? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
But keep on researching and pray nothing goes wrong. It's now May 31st, and VP is 4 threads deep into discussing the demo. An anonymous user says, quote, "It's real by the way. I've seen a good chunk of the sprites. I don't have it myself, so ask me whatever and I'll answer you to the best of what I got a shot of." Someone replies with one of the aforementioned sketches from the fan who attended Space World, depicting the water starter Kurusu, which was cut from the final game. Out of curiosity, the poster asks, "How accurate is this?" "Not accurate. That's a fake." Or so they replied. But as it turned out, they were lying about having the sprites, because 20 minutes later, a different Anon posted this image. The sketch, although slightly misremembered as expected, was by and large accurate. They then posted an image of them fighting an early design of Hoppip, previously seen in Space World footage, though this also revealed the back sprite of Kurusu. But as
So this version of Hoppip?
They then
Hold
posted
on.
an image of them fighting an early.
So this version of Hoppip actually looks fucking cool. I like how it's black too and not pink. That's actually a cool design. Why didn't we get this? Why didn't we get this one as a shiny? That would have been cool if we so shinies, what they are, they're like really good art alt colors and whatnot. Like, let me show you the shiny chart real quick. F11. Shiny. Okay. Templepedia. I need Pokemon. I don't want to do the 3D ones. Oh, they got actual. Wow, that's crazy. So, from here you can see like Charizard is usually orange. Blastoise is usually dark blue instead of purple. Caterpie is usually green, but they have like orange or whatnot, always a purple. They had a special pink version in one of the games. I don't know what a shiny is. Oh no, I'm just explaining for those who are watching on YouTube. Because I'm gonna upload this to YouTube or whatnot. And they got so many fucking Pikachu. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't want the black hat looks kind of lit though. Is that a Nike symbol? Hold on. No way. Fuck. Fragment hat. Cap. Yo, Pikachu gets so much fucking love. Like, I just thought it was like gonna be these ones right here. Like all these ones. But not all like this shit. Like I was aware this one exists. I was aware a couple of these exist. I didn't know like there was this fucking many. That's so many. Jesus fucking Christ, that's so many. Oh, it's candy now? Oh no, it's rare candy now. It's not fucking by Thunderstone. Hold on, what gen is this? Gen 9? Oh. So this one's level by friendship, and this one doesn't. I think this is level by level, I think? They usually have the item out here, but like. Or probably they both do by Thunderstone, depending on what area. Hold on. Click this real quick. I choose when the server when I have region evolving it was in his lower form. Oh, that's what I was talking about too. If they make a Pokemon MMORPG, they gotta have they have all the fucking regions, just so we can do shit like this and make them free to travel to, or make each region it will be a starter zone, and you can start from there or whatnot. No, let's get back from Pokemon.
Early design of Hoppip, previously seen in Space World footage, though this also revealed the back sprite of Kurusu. But as they kept on posting, it became clear that something was different about this leaker. They had the ROM, and they seemed more than willing to share its contents. Beta Girafarig's front and back sprites leak, though once again, it's a Pokemon we had sketches and footage of.
Hold on. So, this one's kind of cool. Instead of it being like a little ball here, I like how it's like just like the mirror half of this one with the evil grin. I like this actually. That's actually pretty cool. Instead of this being what it is. So like, damn, it's crazy because what if this was a censored version of whatever it is or whatnot? Because like, the backside looks really fucking cool, but also still has like, yeah, this I think parents would see this and be like, no, that's evil, ew. Or some weird shit. No, that looks cool though. I like this design.
The back sprites leak, though once again, it's a Pokemon we had sketches and footage of. A presumed Team Space World member writes, I know we're all excited, but please hold off to avoid putting the project, team, and source at risk. Just in case, we only have to wait a month, so please respect the people involved. Fuck off. Dump it now. Another team member writes, it's not necessarily a month, it's only up to a month. We're going as fast as we can, but by posting early leaks, you basically spoil the results of the disassembly. Mr. Edgelord, please think about what you're doing. Their pleading did little to dam the flow of information. Next, they posted more Hanoguma pictures, and claimed they were trying to evolve Kurusu but having difficulty doing so, now resorting to cheats. Someone, perhaps a Team Space World member, replies to them, not having the Kurusu Evo? Get a load of this fucking guy, along with a headshot of Kurusu's evolution. Aqua.
What? There's an evolution in this?
Looking rather smug. Soon, the leaker who was trying to evolve his Kurusu updated the thread to show he was successful. The OP of the first thread chimes in. I guess this is all, my fault. Or at least, people wouldn't have been inspired to post more leaks.
Yeah, 4chan's wild when it comes to this kind of shit.
If it weren't for me posting the original thread. Again, sorry to the team. I was just an outsider who coincidentally stumbled upon it. Didn't think things would turn out like this. That being said, I'd rather play it now than later, so I'm okay with this outcome personally. Sorry that I'm a dick. Kurusu's final evolution, Aquaria, gets posted next. In the same post, the leaker writes, where to upload? Multiple Anons recommend mega.nz. Another presumed Team Space World member writes, he clearly has access to the ROM. We're powerless to do anything at this point. He's going to drag this out and possibly publish the ROM. And then, Team Space World gives in. Seeing that the full demo being leaked was inevitable, Team Space World member Glitterberry writes, I guess we have no other choice then. Here's all the documentation we've done so far. Please source it back to us if you post or write about it. She links a Google Sheets page containing all their research thus far, then continues, text is still being dumped, so there's not a script translation yet. But it's coming. Have fun, y'all.
I want to play this game so bad.
Exactly 24 seconds later, the leaker posts a mega.nz link containing the Pokemon Gold demo with the caption, have fun! Fuck waiting a month. But there was one consolation for the team. While the Gold demo had been leaked, the Silver demo was still safe in the hands of Team Space World. They just needed to keep hold of it. The Omni Archive Discord server is a community dedicated to finding and preserving lost Minecraft versions. Two of the members, Zunaka and Rufus10, were also members of Team Space World. Immediately upon the Gold demo being leaked, Zunaka bragged to the server about his and Rufus's role in the ordeal. However, Zunaka was under the mistaken belief that the Silver demo had already been leaked. Because of this, he accidentally let slip that he had silver and the public didn't. A rather infamous server member named Hans smelled blood in the water and swiftly began blackmailing Zunaka in DMs. According to Rufus, this was done using IRC logs from the hashtag Minecraft channel in 2009. At some point, Zunaka had received these logs from a user of the IRC named DBN. In this channel, Minecraft players would chat with Notch about the game.
Damn, Notch was in there too? That's crazy. That's wild. Notch had a hand in this?
The logs were obtained for research purposes, as this was very early into the game's development. But it was DBN's wish that the logs were withheld from the general public, as releasing them would pose a privacy risk for those in the channel. Hans had obtained these logs, and threatened to publicize them if Zunaka didn't give him the silver demo. After some time, Zunaka caved. Hans immediately leaked it on Omni Archive, and
Oh! I could play this demo right now.
And threatened to publicize them if Zunaka didn't give him the silver demo. After some time, Zunaka caved. Hans immediately leaked it on Omni Archive, and from there, it made its way onto 4chan. The person who posted it to 4chan, also a member of Omni Archive, explains the Hans situation colorfully, characterizing him as someone who, quote, always gets banned by lying, griefing, and generally being an ass. Ironically, upon hearing this, those on the thread lauded Hans as a hero. Many on 4chan were bitter towards Team Space World for what they saw as hoarding the ROMs. Some even believed that were it not for the people who leaked it early, the public would never have received the demo at all, instead predicting that Team Space World would have smugly lorded it over the general public in perpetuity. One post that captures the sentiment at the time reads, quote, Hans is a god who was liberating info from a who wouldn't share it. For giving Hans the silver ROM, Zunaka would be removed from the Team Space World Discord, and despite the sacrifice, DB
Damn, that's crazy. Imagine all of this over fucking this gaming data that he got from fucking Nintendo. That's crazy.
Yen's logs are now public. TCRF put up a page documenting the demo, and the site received so much traffic that the servers began imploding under the strain of it all. From there, news of the demo spread far and wide.
This is how I know about SpongeBob. Him blowing out a Reese fire in fucking episode of season 3 or some shit.
When all was said and done, it was by far the largest Pokemon leak up to that point. Of the 100 Pokemon newly added in the demo, over half were either completely removed from the final game or featured significant design tweaks. Shortly after the release of both the Gold and Silver Protos, the previously vague group that sought to give them a proper release would officially rebrand to Team Space World. Although their attempt at giving the demo a proper release had failed, the future seemed bright for Team Space World. They were still working on the translation patch for the ROMs, but more importantly, Zamet...
So is it gonna be a full like game, or is this the demo? Because the demo couldn't be that long. It would have to like stop you at a certain point while playing the demo. But I wonder though. That's why I wanted to play this is why I want to play it, because I wonder how far the demo goes.
Now christened Mystery Man, was still on their side. He had more to share, and he was willing to give their community the first crack at it. Publicly, things would quiet down in the proto scene for the next 8 months, but beneath the surface, big things were happening. These oddities would culminate in an event that would irreparably shatter
my big thing is happening.
bond between a VP and the main
I love and hate the fact they have this bagel on his head.
Figureheads
or
of
their
the
head.
Pokemon beta community. I'm of course talking about the Pokeathon incident. On August...
The Pokeathon incident? The fuck does that even mean? Pokeathon incident?
12th, 2018, Zamis would post to the Team Space World Discord for the final time. On August 14th, he would go dark on Mastodon, his most active online presence. Slowly but surely, people in GCL would pick up on his absence and wonder what exactly had happened. His newsworthy exploits had yet to be known. While those in GCL had seemingly lost a friend, Team Space World had lost their source. But not all hope of them receiving more development material was lost. It was known, albeit vaguely, that he had given most of his remaining loot to backup people, including some within Team Space World. Even the Team Space World members themselves weren't precisely sure who among them had received this loot, nor how much had been given away. However, one of those people was about to reveal themselves. On September 12th, Ganix released a never-before-seen ROM of Pokemon Yellow to Team Space World, containing debug features developers used for testing. Just 6 days later, ditto for Pokemon Blue. Evidently,
yikes!
he had a
hold on. We gotta run this a little bit.
Albeit vaguely, that he had given most of his remaining loot to backup people, including some within Team Space World. Even the Team Space World members themselves weren't precisely sure who among them had received this loot, nor how much had been given away. However, one of those people was about to reveal themselves. On September 12th, Ganix released a never-before-seen ROM of Pokemon Yellow to Team Space World, containing debug features developers used for testing. Just 6 days later, ditto for Pokemon Blue. Evidently, he had a thing for debug features, because 2 months prior, he had also sent at least one other Team Space World member a patch he'd made to re-enable leftover debug features in Japanese Pokemon.
I didn't do that.
Code. At an unknown point, a few other materials leaked on Team Space World, including screenshots of some development ROMs and some
That's Pokemon Black. That's the black font. That might be a demo. Yeah, that's Pokemon, whatever the fuck that is. Wait, hold on. Saymate, can you read this right here? I don't know if you can see it.
documents. These were most likely shared by Zamis and Ganix. In addition, around this time, debug ROMs for Pokemon Gold and Silver are alleged to have been passed around in private through DMs by Team Space World members. Team Space World was now privately hoarding many of Zamis's materials, and even the server's own members had no idea who among them had what or when they were supposed to release them. On February 16th, 2019, the Team Space World Twitter posted, quote, "Keep an eye on Pokeathon.net in a day and a half. Is it never before seen stuff? Only one way to find out. By which we mean yes." And just like that, the next
This feels like he's promoting it a little bit.
leak was happening. Helix Chamber is a group of fans dedicated to documenting the origins and development of Pokemon. The group was founded by Orchid and Catstorm on May 17th, 2018, in response to the release of Satoshi Tajiri, the man who made Pokemon. This manga, among other things, officially revealed some beta Pokemon designs, which Helix Chamber immediately set to analyzing. Over the next 9 months, they would build an extremely positive reputation for themselves, starting as a Twitter account before creating their website. Most remarkable in my opinion is their series of articles on the internal index order of Gen 1 Pokemon. They would
Missing number overview, lost Pokemon overview.
also gain many new members, with their core team eventually numbering 5, in addition to a number of guests. Some of these members, including Orchid and Catstorm, were also part of Team Space World. However, throughout most of its life, Helix Chamber had been hiding a secret. In the very early days of the organization, Zamis had given them the sprites of 3 Gen 1 beta Pokemon. Shortly afterwards, he disappeared. which Helix Chamber assumed at the time was due to receiving a cease and desist from Nintendo. For the next month, one of their members searched desperately for anyone who had received the rest of the Gen 1 sprites, until finally, they were approached by someone who claimed to have them. Helix Chamber was skeptical at first, so they put them through a series of tests that would prove they were the real deal. The leaker passed every single one with ease. Helix Chamber asked for the files, but the leaker was only comfortable giving out interpreted assets, meaning they were given in common file formats such as PNG and TXT instead of their original form. Among the assets were many things, but the most important were the back sprites of Gen 1 beta Pokemon. Gen 1 has infamously poor sprite work.
Yeah, that shit looks ugly as fuck. I love how I instantly, when zoomed in on Mew, I love how the shit it just looks right here. You know what's funny? I'm looking at the smaller screen, it looks more like Mew than on the bigger screen when it looks like shit, bro. It looks like a bunch of just fucking dots everywhere. Oh man, good old days.
Toshi, don't try the... The leaker passed every single one with ease. Helix Chamber asked for the files, but the leaker was only comfortable giving out interpreted assets, meaning they were given in common file formats such as PNG and TXT instead of their original form. Among the assets were many things, but the most important were the back sprites of Gen 1 beta Pokemon. Gen 1 has infamously poor sprite work. Satoshi, don't try the Johto Fen! This is especially true for the back sprites. Due to their low resolution, many of them are barely even discernible. Front sprites would certainly be more valuable, but during development, Game Freak had optimized their front sprites, a process that erased the unused ones. The back sprites, which didn't undergo this optimization, were all the leaker had left. Because of this, many of these Pokemon's true appearances, as well as their names...
What the fuck is that? What is this? Like, I know that's like wings or whatnot. It's probably like supposed to be Zubat's thing or whatnot. But what the fuck is this? And this looks weird too, but like, I want to know what the fuck this is.
Were unknown. Based on the back sprites, as well as some leftover data, Helix Chamber set to work on theorizing what these Pokemon may have looked like. One Helix Chamber member helping with this effort was Racy Beep, best known for her Sugimori-style drawings of beta Pokemon. She was also going to appear at Pokeathon 2019, a streaming event ran at the time by Abby Abra, where people play Pokemon games for charity. She was supposed to play Team Space World's English translation of the Space World demo. However, the translation was running slightly behind schedule, so Racy floated the idea that instead of running Space World, she could run a ROM hack containing all the Gen 1 beta assets as a fun way to reveal them to the public.
That's cool.
As well as raise some money for charity. The rest of Helix Chamber agreed, and the ROM hack entered development. But for this hack, back sprites alone wouldn't cut it. So, Racy and some others went about fabricating Pokédex entries, names, and other such things for the Pokemon. Most importantly, they gave them front sprites based on what could be deciphered from the back sprites. Out of necessity, these front sprites took significant creative liberties. A notable example is the fan-named Ribito and Crocozuna. Helix Chamber interprets them as sumo frogs, but the back sprites contain so little to work off of that they could really be anything. Next.
Hold on. So, both of these Pokemon look like future Pokemon that we end up getting in the future. Especially this one right here. There's a poison type. I think it's like poison fighting called Toxicroak. It has like the same head. Is pre-evolution has like the same head or whatnot. But yeah, these looks familiar, but let's keep watching.
Back sprites contain so little to work off of that they could really be anything. Next, they needed someone to code the thing. So, they enlisted the help of Mura, who would be the project's sole programmer. So, what are Mura's credentials exactly? Mura doesn't exist. Well, okay, he does, but according to Racy herself, it's merely an anonymous pen name. Paradoxically, Mura fully intended to travel to the Pokeathon Hotel and appear
I love how you use Pokemon font. This is so cool.
on stream in person with
I don't know why I
Racy
said it's cool.
to
I'm just
help
really
present
high.
the hack. The
I'm
idea
really
was an
high. I hate
interactive
this.
presentation, and seeing as he was the only programmer, he would have the best idea of how everything in the hack worked. So, Mura spent entire weeks prior to the event planning his commentary. So, this was it. Team Space World may not have been able to give their namesake a proper release, but a few of its members had a shot at redemption. This was their chance to prove VP and its fear-mongering about hoarders dead wrong. But there's a problem. Due to both a power
There's always a
outage at
problem.
the hotel and a concert going on nearby, Racy's time slot is pushed back from midday Eastern Time on February 27th to midnight on the 28th. For people in America, this meant staying up late on a Sunday night, and for Europeans, waking up early on a Monday. For most people, it was likely better to skip the stream entirely, but this leads to another problem. Team Space World's tweet a day and a half before the event. Though vague, it promised never-before-seen content. For some, it was worth it to stay up late or wake up early to witness Pokemon history. But this also meant that the stream had to deliver in a big way, else its sleep-deprived viewers would become apoplectic. But there's another problem. There just isn't enough time for Mura to finish the ROM hack. It's extremely unstable, with some bugs even corrupting save data. In order to present the hack at all, Racy will need to save frequently and deliberately route the game in a way that avoids the worst of the glitches. The hype for the
That song, is that from Undertale? I think it's one of the boss fights. I forget who it was.
event just keeps building.
Yo!
1 hour before Racy is set to stream, Helix Chamber tweets, quote, "Our own @RacyBeep is about to totally stream Space World at Pokeathon and definitely nothing else in 1 hour. The run will last for 3 hours, followed by a post here and an article on our website for a normal Space World demonstration. So if you have questions about that, hold them." So, people wait an hour, turn on the stream, and...
No.
there's yet another problem. The streamer scheduled before Racy was running late, and he fully intended on finishing his run of Pokemon Platinum, regardless of it eating into Racy's time slot. 70 minutes passed, and he was still playing. A thread begins on VP, picking up where the Space World threads left off. The first post starts off, quote, "Welcome back, plus shitty Twitch stream edition." VP is pissed. 80 minutes past schedule, the Platinum runner finally finishes the game.
80 minutes past schedule? Fuck, bro.
Stream plays
Damn, I'd be so mad.
Mads, followed by a screen saying, "We'll be right back." The situation isn't ideal, but at least the beta content is coming soon. But there's another problem. Because the Platinum runner had taken so long, a VP user allegedly doxed one of the Pokeathon attendees' family, though the dox itself
For what? I hate it here. I hate it here, bro. I really do hate people.
has seemingly been lost, a good thing for the record. The effects it had on the stream have not. Chat moderation was kicked into absolute overdrive. According to a chat I had with Abiabra, 4 people were on laptops in another room, insta-banning 4chan users. Racy would later write that even her mom was banned in the crossfire, despite only being there to support her daughter. Not only
No. No, not my mom.
that, but behind this "we'll be right back" screen, yet another problem is unfolding. On the Pokeathon livestream, the camera showed talent occupying a couch and some seats. Mura intended on taking a seat here. However, he'd spent so long mulling over what he'd say on stream that he'd neglected to tell her this plan. So, Racy was under the false impression that Mura was simply going to watch off-screen. Furthermore, according to Mura, Racy did not choose who sat next to her during the stream. Every seat, including the couch seat, had already been taken, with the exception of one left over. Organizers asked the room if anyone wanted to take the spare seat, but before Mura could speak up, their musician announced that he would take it. Mura was extremely nervous and
why are they like moist?
Their musician
Look like a fatter, moist critical with the beard and everything. What is this?
announced that he would take it. Mura was extremely nervous in the lead up to the event. This was compounded by the stream allegedly reaching 8,000 live viewers around this time. Though Mura wanted to kick the musician out of his spot, he had hesitated so long that the stream had resumed, and he was unwilling to kick him out of his seat on camera. It's also worth noting that in a later thread, Helix Chamber would claim that a quote backup player had to leave due to delays. Assuming this is Mura, it may have been yet another factor contributing to why he didn't appear on stream, though to my knowledge, Mura himself has never cited it as a reason. It is confirmed, however, that Mura would soon leave the venue mid-stream, barely able to hold back tears. He had toiled on this ROM hack for so long, yet he would play no part in revealing it to the world.
That sucks. GG's, man. I hate when like you get to do something or whatnot and get to show off your things, but like shit happens, like real fuck shit happens, and there's nothing you can do about it, and then you just be disappointed when you're unable to show that shit that you have done and everything. You just fucking suck too, and like it's only like it's a one-time thing too, and so you have to get it just right. And to have something like this happen is really just fucked, bro.
Later, he would write that he deeply regrets not taking the seat, as soon all his work would crumble before him in a far more tragic way. However, Mura's absence sets up a new problem. In order to keep the hack from leaking, Racy had waited until the last possible moment to inform staff that she wasn't running Space World. Because of this, nobody else on stream knew the true nature of what she was running. The onus now fell solely on Racy to explain the hack properly. This task is made more difficult by the fact that aside from a few cheeky hints otherwise, the segment had been advertised as a Space World stream. In order for people to not feel lied to, Racy would need to muster all the charisma she could. Concurrent to all this, Helix Chamber is hyping people up. They tweet, quote, "It's time for the commercial break. You know what that means. Who's that Pokemon?" It's here that they show the silhouette of a Beta Zubat pre-evolution, which immediately makes its way on
It's just called Cubat or some shit like that, being all cute and shit.
to VP. Some 90 minutes behind schedule, Racy finally appears.
Okay, so this requires like a little bit of an introduction and an explanation because it's not like a typical run like you would, you know.
She's visibly nervous and finding it difficult to speak clearly. She claims multiple times that the stream will be educational, but the following segment is anything but. The intended joke of the segment is a play on an old rumor that Japan's Pokemon Green version was an entirely different game from America's Red and Blue. She pretends that she's going to play an authentic, translated copy of Japanese Pokemon Green. Then, when she begins playing, the beta twist will be revealed. However, her anxious tone did little to sell the bit, and those who expected a Space World stream are now fuming. The nature of the stream is clarified somewhat as beta elements appear. Some viewers speculate that this is a genuine prototype cartridge. However, it quickly becomes
he killed
clear
himself. Let's
to
go.
most that what she's playing is far too complete to be such. The prevailing theory becomes that this is a ROM hack, which is objectively true, though individual opinions on how much of it was real varied. However, due to the heightened moderation, people who post that it's a ROM hack in chat are banned. Furthermore, Racy keeps insisting that it's a real copy of Pokemon Green. Because of this, viewers suspect that Racy is deliberately trying to pass off the hack as real. And since the other people on the couch knew just as little as chat, intentional or not, that's effectively what happened. According to her testimony, Racy repeatedly checked her phone throughout the segment, looking for a cue on when to drop the act. She never received one.
Oh,
Thus,
no!
The facade continued for the
Oh
entire
no!
stream.
Oh no! Damn!
Though the pace starts off slow, as the stream progresses, more and more previously unknown beta Pokemon get revealed. Where this gets problematic is that the fan-made front sprites, names, and Pokédex entries are taken by some as legitimate beta content, when in reality, only the back sprites were real. This murkiness and significant amount of fan content leads to the single most damning moment of the stream, one that some believe may constitute a crime.
Okay, so donate at least $5 with a number between 1 and 186, and I will show you that dex entry.
Ooh. Racy came up with a donation incentive on the fly where viewers could donate $5 to see a particular Mon's Pokédex entry, which includes their front sprite, but not their back sprite. Many viewers donated believing it would let them see genuine beta content. In actuality, every single element on the page was a fabrication. For already skeptical viewers, this was the nail in the coffin. In their eyes, it was outright fraud. So, yeah, this stream went about as disastrously as humanly possible. To put it mildly, in the midst of all this, Helix Chamber attempted to ease concerns over Twitter. When the segment finally ended, they tweeted, quote, "Well, I suppose you're all due for an explanation." They then explained how they'd obtained the leaked goods and what exactly was authentic. But importantly, the thread contained multiple deliberate lies. This was, in their eyes, to, quote, protect the source. One of these mistruths was, quote, "We pushed to get dumps of these prototypes, but they wouldn't budge on that. We assumed they were a collector and wanted to keep the value of what they had. But
so what? They're gonna make the lie that this was given to them or some shit?
apparently recent events inspired them to at least give up some details of what was within the games. In reality, there were no prototypes, with the assets instead being found in Gen 1 source code, and the leaker was hardly the collector Helix Chamber made them out to be. But to VP, who reviled hoarders, this was yet another detail to be infuriated about. Helix Chamber then leaked the assets under the used.surf domain. Used.surf is now defunct, but back in the day, it was a joke website in which any Gen 1 Pokemon could be depicted surfing by changing the subdomain, including Missing No. But the
that's hilarious. I'm gonna actually use that.
page Helix Chamber had linked under Rhydon.used.surf instead led to a zip of all the prototype assets they'd received. Along with this, they released an article entitled, "What Dreams May Come: Prototype Data for Pokemon Red and Green," detailing their preliminary analysis of the prototype assets, with the promise of more articles on them in the future. However, this article confirmed that much of the ROM's content was fan-made, solidifying people's ire. To make matters worse, though the article left out most of the fan-made material for clarity, it kept the fan-made names. Immediately, a downpour of negative comments rained down upon their website. That same day, the article was updated, removing fan-made names and interpretations, as well as apologizing for the stream, but this did little to quell the backlash. An irreparable rift had formed between VP and many of the figureheads of the beta Pokemon community, and the prime target for 4chan's hatred was none other than Racy herself. To heighten tensions further, though both Mura and Helix Chamber had apologized repeatedly for their part in the fiasco, Racy, feeling she was being unfairly targeted, seemed unwilling to do the same, even months later. But for VP, the most important thing gleaned was that, according to one of Helix Chamber's lies, a real prototype Green ROM was out there. This realization spurred a new series of threads with the intention of figuring out who this collector was.
So it doesn't exist? Or like, are they lying? Because if they're lying, that's crazy. Just make it. Just make it. Just backwards engineer them or some shit. I don't know.
Unfortunately for them, this collector wasn't real, and tweeting at Nabogasawara wasn't going to do anything. But if they had looked just a little harder, they probably could have figured out who the real leaker was. Because as it turns out, the answer was hiding in plain sight. All you had to do was ask one simple question. Who owns used.surf? But before I answer that question, there's something up with Mura. In a VP Q&A, Mura revealed exactly why the front sprites weren't present, which is something even Helix Chamber claimed to not know. On another thread, he leaked Pokemon's old slogan, "Catch 'em if you can." Mura would eventually
Catch
release
'em
the
if you
Pokéthon
can.
ROM to download and play. Hidden within it was a previously unknown Beta Super Game Boy border that was absent from the zip file entirely, yet seemed authentic. It was almost as if Mura and the leaker were the same person. The smoking gun was that the Pokéthon ROM's debug features were accessed the
Oh
same
my God,
way
I'm
they
about to
are on
lose.
real Pokemon debug
Alright,
cards,
maybe not.
pressing select on the title screen. And if you recall from the beginning of this chapter, there's one person who knows a thing or two about Pokemon debug ROMs. Well, I suppose you're all due for an explanation. In many ways, Ganix and Zamis are mirrors of each other. Both are old users on GCL who remained active
Because of course.
in its modern era. Both are autistic, and most importantly, both hyperfixate on cybersecurity, even making it their careers. Perhaps it was this similarity that allowed them to get along so well. Well enough that 4 days after Zamis hacked Nintendo, he contacted Ganix and entrusted him with some of the files. Ganix didn't know for a fact how the files had been obtained, though his use of the phrase "for a fact" in some statements implies he may have had an inkling of the truth even early on. Zamis's goal was for most of the files to be leaked publicly. However, Ganix had reservations about the legality of doing so, especially considering Nintendo's litigious track record. To Ganix, publicly leaking raw, unaltered data was off the table. What he was comfortable enough with was releasing interpretations of that data. Thus, the Pokéthon ROM was born. Of course, if Ganix was gonna pull this off, he could not be publicly connected with the leaks. So, he lied. Publicly, he pretended to be a
Oh yeah, because like if you say it was abusive, like this is another case of learning how to shut the fuck up. And he learned how to shut the fuck up, and look what happened. He's not implicated into this, even though now we have videos or whatnot, and you probably got caught or everything like that. But like, yeah, hold on. Let's see what else goes. There's probably more. Because given the title, he probably somehow got found out.
The Pokéthon ROM I totally didn't know about. If you weren't one of a select few people he told in private, you were none the wiser to Ganix's involvement. There was just one small problem. Zamis had gone MIA. It can be assumed that on or shortly after August 14th, Zamis was arrested for the 3rd time. Although surprisingly, I haven't been able to find any news reports of this happening. Either way, he wasn't going to be making any public appearances online anytime soon. Ganix was now alone. In late January 2019, Zamis began his hearing at Blackfriars Crown Court in London. He pled guilty. Appearing along...
Shit, I would have pled guilty too. Like, motherfucker. like, I probably know what I would do if I was a black hat. I probably would just submit my resume at the same time while I'm hacking you dudes, because there's no way I'm not getting a job out of this shit.
Beside him was our old friend Thomas Hounsel. Of the two, Zamis looked to be in far deeper trouble. For starters, dude got arrested for hacking while on bail for hacking. On top of that, he'd uploaded malware on Microsoft servers and stolen over 2,000 usernames and passwords from Nintendo's. Zamis had been astonishingly lucky to survive his prior legal rodeos. Now he needed a miracle far more divine than all the ones he'd received yet. Though we don't know what precisely happened during Zamis's trial, what we do know is that his defense relied heavily on his autism. In particular, his fixation on hacking was likened to an addiction by his defense barrister. However, one detail seemed—
Defense barrister? What is that? R-I-S-T-I-S. That's my first time ever hearing that word. A defense barista is known as a criminal defense lawyer. Is a lawyer who specializes in representing individuals and companies accused. Oh, so this is a criminal defender. Okay, cool.
Most important to the judge, a letter from Zamis's parents. In it, they detailed not only his struggles with autism, but a plan for rehabilitation. This included his mom quitting her day job in order to supervise him, in what was likely
fucking yikes
the most embarrassing moment of his life. On March 28th, Zamis would learn his fate. Zamis would be sentenced to 15 months in prison.
That's it? A year and a half? Like what prison though? Because it's probably gonna be minimum security prison. Like, cause like he's gonna be not sure if hacking's a federal offense, but like like hacking's not that bad as long as you're not doing like extra like identity stuff and stuff like that. If he's just going into shit and just like throwing in backdoors and all this shit and whatnot, you can get in trouble with that, but it's like a year's worth, you know, and you get banned off the internet for like I think for like 10 years or some shit. I wish I had my friend here because she actually went to court for the shit, and she got off. I think she took a deal or some shit like that because it was beneficial or some weird shit. I took all that damage for no reason. Hold on, let's restart this.
18 months suspended. Looks like he had one last miracle in him after all. If he didn't reoffend for 18 months, he could avoid prison entirely. In addition, he received a Serious Crime Prevention Order, or SCPO, lasting 5 years. Hounsel would be similarly spared, receiving 6 months suspended for 18, along with 100 hours of community service. According to Ganix, Zamis wouldn't be able to use a computer unsupervised for the next 5 years.
No, yeah.
This would perhaps explain why even after his sentencing, he would not return to the internet, though it is worth noting that Zamis would return to Mastodon on November 4th, 2022, quite a bit earlier than the projected 5 years. The same day Zamis was sentenced, the story hit the press. Some of his usernames were now publicly associated with the hack, which could be directly tied back to his GCL account. Despite this, the community was still unsure of what had happened. Who did find these articles was Ganix, who still had in his possession the files that had nearly gotten his friend imprisoned. Ganix had not given away everything he had. But was it safe to leak these files anymore? Was it even ethical now that he knew for certain?
Was it even worth it? I probably would like, what I do with this is make a holder account on a different IP or whatnot, go to like McDonald's or Subway or some public place, dump all the files there, change the metadata first and dump all the files there and shit like that, and dump them online on like a random ass archive site or whatever.
in where they'd come from, Ganix's actions in the following months are contradictory. One moment, he'll tease people as Mura about all the beta information he has. The next, the stress of it all is so overwhelming he starts venting to people behind the scenes. Then it's right back to leaking a debug ROM on TCRF and bragging about all the protos he has. To make matters worse, people on
Sounds like he's going through it, bro. It sounds like he's like had actual depression.
VP were beginning to put 2 and 2 together. And then there's Marcus, if you remember him from the Space World situation. On October 29th, Marcus, who evidently knew a few things behind the scenes, confirmed in a thread that Zamis was the source of the Gen 1 leak, the same one that Ganix had helped out with. A friend of Ganix's, Photon Phoenix, would write at a later date, quote, Ganix chose to tell me everything months ago for some reason, and I watched his psyche degrade as the facade wore thin, as facts and logic drew on about how Zamis Clark was the one who hacked the assets.
Damn, said his whole fucking name? That's crazy.
Imagine you own some of the most prized beta content in all of fiction. The stress is getting to you. The pit in your stomach has been growing for a while now, and it's threatening to swallow your soul up too. A rotten, acidic sort of anxiety feels like it's rising through your spinal cord and eating at your brain. And yet, you also feel proud. You own something almost no one else has ever seen. Something you weren't
Play this shit on stream. Shit, fuck it.
even meant to see to begin with, and you can go down in the history books forever, if only you release it. What do you do? The answer is quite simple, really. You never had a choice to begin with. The cascade has been in motion for so long now, it doesn't matter what you do. This proto is coming out one way or another, or 4 billion ways after that, because sometimes all it takes to destroy the world is to ride your bike the wrong way. A thread is posted to VP. Quote, hey VP, check out these silly sprites! Haha! With it is a link to weavile.used.surf. That, when clicked, reveals a comparison table with hundreds of beta sprites from Gen 4.
Yo, this fucking music goes hard. Hold on.
History books forever, if only you release it. What do you do? The answer is quite simple, really. You never had a choice to begin with. The cascade has been in motion for so long now, it doesn't matter what you do. This proto is coming out one way or another, or 4 billion ways after that. Because sometimes, all it takes to destroy the world is to ride your bike the wrong
double
way.
that, so every time she plays is 22, but also take 11.
A thread is posted to VP. Quote, hey VP, check out these silly sprites! Haha! With it is a link to weavile.used.surf. That, when clicked, reveals a comparison table with hundreds of beta sprites from Gen 4 next to their final versions. Though it contained no betamons, what it did have was cut gender differences for nearly every single Pokemon.
Hey, the Pikachu one looks cool! The ears are down? Yo, I want this! Hold on. How many hours? April 3rd. I had to post this inside the fucking. So the Pokemon Fusion website used these sprites, and they haven't used the movable ones yet, but they have these sprites or whatnot. And this shit looks cool, actually. I like it. Like, I wish I get the female Pikachu. That shit looks lit.
Pokemon.
Yes, I am a Pokemon fan, but like, I'm a mature Pokemon fan. I'm not like, oh my god, I gotta get the next Pokemon. No, stop with Pokemon Ultra Sun, and I'm gonna stick with with Pokemon Arceus. I'm gonna stick with that way. I'm not gonna be chasing 1,000 Pokemon. Fuck that. 1,025 Pokemon is way too fucking much. Holy fuck, bro.
In the game. Immediately, Perceptive Anons noticed that used.surf was also Rhydon.used for the Gen 1 leak. This tie to Helix Chamber caused some to immediately doubt its validity, recalling the Pokeathon incident. However, a thread Helix Chamber posted about the leak indicated that they had nothing to do with it. So, who was behind this leak? People wouldn't have to wait long to find out. An anonymous user posted in all caps, quote, give us the ROM, smelly foot Attached was a conspiracy theory-like image connecting Ganix to the used.surf domain through rather convoluted means, which also involved exposing that he was a furry. The post was not only dripping with spite, but seemed oddly prepared for a thread that was posted less than 4 hours prior, though much of the following would be removed by VP moderators. Anons would begin trawling through his social media, publicly associating their contents with the leak. Soon after, Ganix would take the page down. In its stead was a lengthy write-up. He claimed that an anonymous source had given him the files through an app called Tox. However, this is a lie. What's likely true, however, is the next part. Quote, I decided to make that comparison table I had up here for a few months so I could more easily compare them. Someone I initially gave it to posted the link on VP recently, and a few users have been going out of their way to find the source. I read over the thread, and while most people expressed interest in or enjoyed the sprite
I can just keep doing
I'll be
this.
taking it
Stop
down to
that.
prevent any further harassment and to stop those who are trying to uncover the source, which will result in the exact opposite
I'll
of
take
what
20.
those people want. It's been theorized that the person who created the image linking Ganix to
By the way, this is my
use.surf
opponent can't do
is the
anything.
same one who
That's because
posted the
every
sprite,
card in
but
this
this
deck will
is
make
not
him
known for
fucking go
certain.
over this right here. So he can't draw, he can't do anything. He's just locked in.
Over the following days, Ganix did some soul searching,
GG's.
though we can only speculate as to what this looks like.
GG's.
We do know the conclusion he came to. On the night of Christmas 2019, Ganix wrote what may be the single most infamous post on GCL, clarification on recent events. Okay, so I haven't exactly been upfront or honest with everyone, and I want to explain the situation and clear up any confusion and ambiguity behind.
Holy shit, we're almost done. I forgot this shit is 2 hours. Hold on, break back. I gotta go take a pee break. And yes, this time I will actually mute my mic.
Check my comprehensive catalog of crafts. I'm daft, I battle all like I don't have it all. Avantgarde, Battlestar Galactica, got rhymes per capita. I'm shining through the aperture, but I'm not gonna
Figured out that Idris Elba was British.
Oh, that fucked me up. That fucked me up.
None of us no caps for ya. That's another genre. I'm the black bomber, track charmer, sack burner, distract burdens. If it ain't that urgent, nerd prince, word sentinel, invisible infidel, innocent.
It's always a privilege to spit with laws. I'm a reality speaker, forget them cars.
I really gotta get Nick a new Be Right Back screen so I can get this all updated and everything. 'Cause I'm currently working on it now. It's just I gotta do a new one. All right, press my luck. We did most of these. Not playing with a full fucking deck. Ooh, excuse me. I will play with this though. I'm about to die horribly. Let's do this
Back
shit.
in March of 2018, an individual hacked into Nintendo's internal network. That individual goes by many names online, but the one relevant here is Wacko. In May of 2018, Wacko uploaded the Space World 1997 prototype of Pokemon Gold and Silver. There were many Pokemon-related things Wacko had come into possession of. He entrusted some of what he had with certain individuals. I was one of those people. I was careful not to include any actual data from the game or any game assets, but rather interpretations of those assets, such as including the back sprites as PNG files instead of the actual files that the game used.
I knew
for
I was gonna
back
drew that.
sprites. In summary, the Pokemon Red and Green assets and the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl sprites are real. I have nothing else in my possession, and I've shown everything I did have. I deeply apologize for letting this go on for as long as it has. I haven't felt right about this from the very beginning, and it's a burden I'm finally glad to rid
I want to know if Nintendo actually caught wind of this shit, because this is crazy.
myself of. I've withdrawn from the dev/proto scene entirely, and I've recused myself from actively participating in the Pokemon Gen 1 through 7 glitching scene. Additionally, both Wacko and myself will be stripped of any and all ranks on GCL following this announcement, although I still plan to remain active and participate however I can. Again, I didn't plan for things to get this out of hand or cause negativity of any kind. I wanted to give people a glimpse of what could have been, and the amount of work
So-
and detail.
This chip right here is one of the most. Wait, why did I get it? Oh no. This chip right here is one of the most best chips ever because it's on either pay or lose. And if your deck is good enough, you'll be able to fucking get like a bunch of advantage and shit like that. And also, if your deck is bad enough, you're gonna get that advantage anyway. You can play with your opponent and stuff like that. But that's besides the point. Let's continue.
That went into some of these in any way I could, but even acknowledging their existence may have been saying too much, and I sincerely apologize for all of this. The GCL community was
I didn't mean to do that.
Immediately, Ganix began answering questions in the Discord. Though nobody
No, I didn't
seemed
mean to fucking
particularly
do
upset
that.
with Ganix, his own opinion on the situation had crystallized. Ganix believed that what he'd done was immoral. Across various messages he wrote, quote, all of it was nefariously obtained, regardless of how cool it is. Hell, even with how cool I myself think it is. It's my job to protect these companies from intrusion and attack, so I can't view Zamus's hack as anything but terrible, careless, and reckless as a security professional. He would even go as far as directly asking the Internet Archive to exclude weevil.used.surf, which they later did.
I like the Wayback Machine when they do shit like this. Or Internet Archive when they do shit like this.
Ganix felt he needed to atone, and this was his method. Soon, his clarification would ripple all across the Pokemon prototype community. The most chaotic.
I want to know is how the fuck the Game Freak found out about this, because he is going to talk about the Nintendo Giga Leak. I think that happened in like, we didn't hear about it until like 2017, 2016, one of the years. But like, I think he talks about it in the beginning or whatnot. Yeah, I think it talks about the beginning.
Of these effects would occur in none
Because that's
other
how we got the ROM and stuff like that, which is crazy.
than Pret, the server where Space World was leaked all that time ago. Racy had accused Marcus of doxing Ganix. Quote, at Marcus, is that why you threw Ganix?
Dude, this fucking, hey, Miss Payday, thanks for the lurk. This is some wild shit right here because, like, we hear, like, the person got doxed in the stream and, like, fucking, now fucking this shit right here is crazy.
Under the bus with those docs to VP? It's just real funny that someone name-dropping Marcus, who types exactly like Marcus, would suddenly dox Ganix in the VP Gen 4 Sprites thread, with info only someone close to the source would know, including Discord screenshots. To be clear, she's talking about the original post linking Ganix to the used.surf domain here. Others in chat ask Racy to substantiate her claims, but her only justification was that his typing voice matched certain anons on VP. But the situation would grow even more tumultuous when a user named AX6 joined chat. AX6 had previously expressed doubts about the Gen 1 leak in Helix Chambers' comments section, citing how various details of the files didn't seem to make sense, specifically citing how some of the maps had incorrect tile sets, rendering them indecipherable. Now, he had picked up on something fishy in Ganix's clarification, namely, that Ganix had lied. AX6 shares a screenshot where he quotes two statements Ganix made. One, that Ganix refused to share original assets, instead only sharing interpreted assets. Two, that he had nothing else in his possession, and shared everything he did have. AX6 writes, quote, those two phrases are not consistent with each other. One of them must be a lie. Racy responds, quote, the stuff we were given was compiled assets. We were not given raw assets. That's what the post means. They go back and forth for some time, arguing about the validity of the Gen 1 leak. Racy talks around what the source of the assets were, though admits that they're not from a ROM. If you recall, at this point in the story, Helix Chambers' explanation is still that the assets are from a few prototype ROMs, which Racy has just admitted was a lie. AX6 responds, so there was a source with real data, and not the fake maps with wrong tile sets we got. Apparently there was some source, we didn't get it, but this guy gave us everything he had. At most, two of those three phrases can be true at once. Racy replies, yes, because source would have been more dangerous to drop, so the compiled data was dropped instead. So the part about giving us everything he had is the lie. I mean, it doesn't exist now, so it's not a lie. Either he had it or he didn't. It's a Boolean. There are no other options. Had and destroyed after everything of note was extracted/compiled. But AX6 evidently had a grudge, and Ganix's response was the final straw. Okay, so he didn't come clean. He kinda forgot to say that he had more to give, but he chose to destroy it instead. I'm sick of the constant lies and half-truth. Data either exists or it doesn't, and people either have it or they don't. Racy.
So hold on, let's go. Just looking for an hour. All right, cool. Almost done with the stream. Almost. It's been like 2.2 hours. But no, we're learning about Pokemon and the Giga Leak and everything like that. And this one dude who got arrested for leaking the shit like that. And the Super Giga Leak that is from this one dude who we're talking about right now. All right, now I'm just reacting to it and just going through this or whatnot and all that good stuff. But like, yeah, it's a lot. Like fucking
stuff,
hold on. No, go back. Oh my god, I hate when F11 stops working. So basically, how this all started was there was a Pokemon version that was a demo that has in Pokemon on it. Somebody who was a prolific hacker and who had accolades into hacking and everything like that got into Game Freak and grabbed a shit ton of shit without anybody noticing or whatnot. And all this is like recent, like in the 2010s, but like damn, the 2010s is almost 10 years ago. It is 10 years ago. Fuck, we're old. Damn it, we're so old.
It's a miracle anything came out at all after 2 decades is apparently irrelevant. People are mad about the fact that you changed your story 21,401,924,908 times and
damn, I wish I could change my story that many times.
You still claim nothing bad happened. Should I remind you that this all started with you people stealing money from Twitch viewers? If people didn't want to donate, they didn't have to. I'm real sorry that they benefited disaster relief a little in between doxing our attendees and calling me slurs in the chat.
Oh, that is related to that. Hey, that's fucked over. That's crazy. Bah, but it is this. Fuck, I'm keep dying in this game too. Also, I'm playing this game called Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers. I've been playing this game for like months, and it's been my crack for like idling and stuff like that. So like, let's say if I am, let's say I'm waiting for a game to load, or I'm like watching stuff on like stream or watching somebody else's stream or whatnot. I just have this on the side while like video editing. I take like little breaks every now and then.
People wanted to donate to see more.
This game is fun.
Beta content, as you promised. Instead, you showed them content you made up. But Racy wasn't backing down. I noticed we had 8,300 viewers and no donations, so I made up an incentive on the fly that people might want to see. At that point, most people thought it was a hack anyway. AX6 wouldn't relent.
Okay, I'll take 18.
You lied. Please understand that. You claimed that something was true while it wasn't. That's really
I actually low-key like this right here with the board and everything like that. Maybe I should do my editing like that. Because this video is on top of this one, and then you probably put like the white space here on top of the bottom video to do this. But this is still kind of cool or whatnot. I would love to do something like this. Or they probably just did this in Photoshop. It is what it is.
The core of the issue. You people have been telling us lies and half-truths all along. At this point, the others in chat were firmly against Racy. AX6 continues. Are you incapable of making a mistake? Have you refunded the fraudulent donations? Literally 0 people have asked for their $5 or whatever back, so I'm completely serious here though. Is it so hard for you to acknowledge that you've lied to us?
Why this fucking guy so goddamn mad? It wasn't that he's lied, it's just shit that was happening in the background. Well, mind you, we know what all happened in the background because this is like later on and this is everybody like going compiling the story and everything like that. But like, chill, nigga. Oh my god, chill. Just chill. All they need to do is fucking chill.
How
do you do all this extra shit?
You specifically, really. I'm extremely disappointed in the team in general. But you.
Hey, Vonchi, you there? I don't know if he's fucking there. That's crazy.
Specifically you can't even seem to acknowledge what happened. Like, we can't even debate if it was good or bad, if it mattered or it didn't, because we're still debating the facts. We're all staring at a green cup in the middle of the room, but you're calling it a blue fork. We can't even get to the point of whether the data was more or less important than the lies, because you won't acknowledge that the lies happened, and continue to happen. In the end, AX6's suspicions about the Gen 1 leak's authenticity would prove false, but it was becoming clear that, among certain parties, the situation was growing untenable. AX6 would later call Helix Chamber and Ganix, quote, irredeemable hoarders with zero sense of giving back to the community.
Damn, that's crazy, bro.
He also openly suspected Helix Chamber of hoarding more data behind the scenes. On the other side of the coin, Racy would later apologize to Marcus for her false accusation, which he accepted without reservation. Meanwhile, Ganix got in contact with a lawyer. He said in a Discord known as Hall of Origin, quote,
Oh shit, this is in 2020, so this COVID was going down during this.
A little stunt.
Unless that's 2019. I don't know if that's years or months. Or years, months, or I don't know. That's days or years.
With releasing things could be tried under the Economic Espionage Act of 1996, which carries a $500,000 fine and 10 years in jail for each instance. Shortly after, he urged members of Team Space World to delete everything Zamis had given them. As 2020 began, the state of Pokemon leaks was uncertain. Both sources no longer had anything to give, even though Zamis had stolen so much more than what had been revealed thus far. The community had to ask themselves, would they ever see a leak like Space World 97 again? But see, 1997 isn't the only Space World that had a Gen 2 Pokemon game. The next Space World event was held in 1999, and it had its own Gold and Silver demo which had yet to leak. But the Pokemon Proto community had already seen so much chaos. Could they really handle another leak like this? On May 8th, 2019, when Ganix was
so it's 2019.
on
So
VP
COVID barely
while posing
dropped.
as Mura, an anonymous user claimed that they possessed
Because COVID didn't hit until like what? Before the summer of 2019, I think, in America.
Terabytes.
Like I was already in the house by then. Now, fuck all that. I'm not getting sick.
Worth of prototype content. Their source for this claim? Their ass. It's 4chan, what do you expect? They told an extremely convoluted and angsty story about how they're literally waiting for certain people to die before posting some of the data, and how they were going to give the spiciest development dump in history to 3 people, and blah blah. It was a hoax, and an obvious one at that. And yet, of all the misinformation perpetuated about the Zamis Clark story, the rumor that has withstood the test of time the longest is the idea that he stole 2.5 terabytes of data. You can't escape this rumor. Consume nearly anything about the story and you'll be given this figure.
While the amount of data stolen by Clark is unspecified in the articles written about him...
Hey, it's Gamer from Mars!
It's common knowledge in the community that he obtained approximately 2 terabytes worth of information.
Because despite being one of the most blatant hoaxes ever conceived, one part of it rang eerily prophetic in retrospect. Check back sometime around mid-2020. Clean room design is a legal defense for projects attempting to reverse engineer machine-ready code back into the programming language the source code was written in. It means that the project was made with no knowledge of the original copyrighted source code. But aside from its utility as a legal defense, Clean Room can also be maintained either for the sake of morality or pride. If the source was obtained illegally, a project may have moral qualms with accessing it, or in cases like like glitch hunting, knowledge of the source code can vastly ease the discovery of new glitches. Thus, maintaining clean room can increase the challenge and satisfaction. Up to this point, clean room was a given in the Pokemon community. The source code for the games had never been made public, so it was impossible to have knowledge of it to begin with. But if the source code for any Pokemon game were to come out, it would prove devastating for any clean room project surrounding it. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that, right?
Oh,
On
shit,
March
excuse me.
18th, 2020, an anonymous user posted to VP, quote, "I found a USB stick in my uncle's drawer and took it without him noticing. He works at Nintendo, I hope he's not mad." He then posted an Anon Files link leading to a passworded file containing much of what Ganix and Zamis had leaked privately to Team Space World, including the blue and yellow debug ROMs among other miscellaneous files. However, the thread would gain little traction. That same day, on the Hall of Origin Discord server,
The fact that this dude, there's somebody, I love how there's somebody out here just archiving this post of this like fucking from 4chan, because like, mind you, there are posts on 4chan that was like from 6 years ago still in 4chan right now, because certain boards just don't update, or nobody's on that board posting like that, or like everybody's in the threads posting. But usually what will happen is a lot of the old boards that are on 4chan will just get eaten up by all the new boards, because how they work is they do have an archive, but it's not saved on the main board. Wherever it gets bumped, it gets bumped off the site. So that's why with 4chan you can be like anonymous and just racing. So let's say like constantly on 4chan or whatnot. But like you could be like do all this shit in 4chan and not have it barely link back to you unless you type in the name and account or whatnot and all that good stuff. I never did it. I only use 4chan as a resource tool, like back before like that, like I think like what, in 2009 2008 I was using 4chan and everything like that because I was a young adult, and we usually just was being stupid on there doing like small raids and stuff like that. I was there for the conflict on 4chan, like the chan battles and stuff like that and everything, and how bad it was. Like the amount of posts that motherfuckers would get spammed with from other forum sites is horrid. But like all the other sites are gone and 4chan is still alive. GG's guys, we made it.
a user named Merp would ping Ganix. Quote, "So someone mentioned something about you and Gen 4 ACE. I'm the Gen 3 ACE person and I was thinking of trying to research 4. So like, what's the deal?" Over 2 years ago, Ganix was excited to discover arbitrary code execution in Gen 4. When he was given the source code by Zamis, he was able to find multiple methods through which ACE may be achievable. Now, Merp wanted him to disclose what he knew about these methods, but Ganix found himself unable to. Quote, "But yeah, no, I'm not disclosing any ACE vectors. I found that information by analyzing something I shouldn't have ever seen, and you bet your ass that I'm not going to divulge tainted info." Merp responds, "Yeah, the cool guy who had all the access in the world to these tools, which wasn't even legal access, and then hoards knowledge rather than sharing it with the scene." The argument continues for some time. Merp says, quote, "Like, someone else is eventually going to find the ACE vector without the source." Ganix says, "And I encourage that." Okay, but you're literally having people redo months of unnecessary work. But soon, the argument reached a boiling point, as Ganix posted a shocking paragraph. Yes, I know the answers, and I also know the scrapped Pokemon, the debug asserts, the dev comments, the shelved ideas, literally everything. And you know what? That's all they are now. They're just numbers. Gen 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all just code and data to me. There's nothing there that I used to enjoy now. I can force myself to be ignorant of everything and just experience it, but the magic isn't there anymore. There's way more there than should have ever been seen, and I legitimately regret that shit. Nobody but the devs and publisher should see that. 10 days later, the Team Space World files would leak once more to 4chan, but without the—
So him being the guy who knows about the leaks and stuff like that and actually like hopped in it, just kind of felt bad and didn't like listen. It's hard to scrub the internet. Somebody's gonna have a file somewhere out there in the world and somebody's gonna just drop that on there, or it's gonna be uploaded somehow or whatnot. I think I have files on my PC that are just gone. Like I think I have Ragnarok Battle Offline. Hold on. Is Ragnarok Battle Offline still a thing? No, it's Ragnarok. Ragnarok Battle Off. Oh, I typed that shit so wrong. Is this still be able to play? 6 years ago. Oh, they still have the. Oh, it's on archive. Damn. So this is a PC game. It came out in like 2004. It's based off of Ragnarok, the MMO that came out a long time ago with the classes and everything like that. Super fucking fun game. But so this is when Dojin actually meant like not hentai, but when like Dojin just means like garage game or game that's built inside your garage and shit like that. But no, really fun game or whatnot. If I play it on stream, it's probably gonna be like far in the future, not like anytime soon. But yeah, I didn't know fucking the site's gone. Oh, it is what it is. But French Bread, I think it's a French Bread game. I think it's a really old French Bread game.
The password. This time, it would not go unnoticed. Ganix discussed the leak in the Glitch City Laboratories Discord, confirming both that the leak was real and that Team Space World had withheld the files from public release for some time. He was pissed. Quote, Team Space World are a bunch of fucking children in my eyes at this point. I'm glad I jumped ship, and I'm damn glad I didn't give them anything else aside from that, or this could have been very bad. This guarantees I become a locked box though. Trust for people was already at 0, and now this ain't doing any favors. The last post was especially confusing, as Ganix had already resolved not to leak anything else. When another user asked why the leak shouldn't have gone public, Ganix wrote the phrase that he would soon become synonymous with. It's bad data. Some Anons on VP were lurking in the GCL Discord, and upon seeing this, none were happy. What made the discussion on 4chan even more heated was that the leak contained—
I kind of want to low-key go on 4chan and see the aftermath of this, because like, I know the VP boards will probably like still have it or whatnot, but I still want to see if they have like their archives or whatnot, because that board is like phenomenal for what it is.
One screenshot that had been shared in the Team Space World Discord of a prototype Pearl ROM. Upon seeing the leak, Ganix posted a new screenshot from the same prototype in GCL, supposedly as proof of the leak's legitimacy, implying that he still had access to the Pearl proto. In addition, he admitted to withholding the Gen 1 source code, which had still not leaked. To VP, Ganix had lied about deleting everything from his computer. He had protos to spare and none to share. In response, VP Anons began scouring his safe for work.
How do we know when that leak dropped, he just didn't grab the data from the leak and re-download that? How do we know this?
And NSFW Twitter accounts, both of which Ganix shortly privated. The phrase bad data would swiftly become a meme used by 4chan to deride Ganix. At the end of it all, Ganix wrote, quote, I really am sorry. Y'all don't need to be dealing with this kind of thing on my behalf. I said a thing, then someone mentioned it somewhere else, and now we're here. And I never should have said the thing to begin with. I know a bunch of shit has been stirred recently just from me even acknowledging anything, and that it would put the negative spotlight on GCL on at least 2 occasions now, and I don't want that to happen here again. Immediately after, Ganix would leave the GCL Discord. But the Team Space World leaks wouldn't end there.
Yeah, so Team Space World will be in trouble, won't they, if all this shit, cause like it's already been leaked. It is what it is, or whatnot. But I want to know if Game Freak jumped in on this.
On March 31st, an Anon would begin posting screenshots and messages shared in the private Discord, including images from Gen 2 development ROMs and messages where Zamus admitted to having the Space World 99 demo. This would be interpreted by some to mean that Team Space World was hoarding the 99 demo, though this was inaccurate. In response to all this, Sanqui would officially disband Team Space World, privating the entire server's message history along with it.
Or just delete the fucking Discord.
Quote, there is nothing left to be done here but drama and nothing to leak but
I love how this is on April 1st.
Personal information. If you want specific technical information from the historical logs, please ask me. Thanks for the effort 2 years ago. It was a hectic but great time. I politely request the person who is bent on sharing logs from this Discord to consider redacting users, as there are people who would prefer to keep their involvement in this project private for personal reasons. Thanks. Team Space World was officially dead, having never released the planned translation patch. On April 1st, 2020, Helix Chamber posted their article, Red and Green Proto Move Analysis, Part 1, Mirror Move. The site would go dormant for an entire year.
Hey, what up, Thriller? Welcome to the stream, fam. We watching stuff about Pokemon, your favorite game.
Before
we just got to the end of it, but they're talking about the Pokemon Giga League in Chapter 7.
Turning with a part 2 on June 3rd, 2021. This would end up being the site's final article. Though technically a year off, Helix Chamber's death was well into motion. Their reputation would forever be inseparable from Pokeathon. After some kerfuffle, an internal list of every ROM on most Nintendo platforms was leaked to 4chan, but that was only a warning shot for what would come next. April 11th would start with a—
I remember this day, holy fuck, bro. I think I streamed this day.
Fairly minor leak. Debug ROMs for Gold and Silver, which were most likely passed around in private between some Team Space World members, though never posted on the server.
I think there's in the homebrew app for the 3DS, I think you can get some of these games.
But only an hour and a half later, on the same thread, a different Anon would post, quote, solve the challenge and enjoy.
Bro, at least, oh well, no, he's wearing, I guess.
Where lots of Helix Chamber shit came from, along with an Anon files link. The password was quickly cracked, and the files were revealed to be source code for the US ROMs of Pokemon Blue and Yellow, the same source code that Ganix had gotten the back sprites from. Though many secrets were found in the code, the one that captured people the most was a planned companion game to Pokemon Yellow called Pokemon Pink, the mascot of which would likely have been Clefairy.
We live in a world where Clefairy is not the main type Pokemon or whatnot. We live in a world where Yellow came out and we never got Pink to appeal to like the girls who actually want to play this game. But no, we didn't get Pink, guys. No, we got fucking Pikachu.
A Helix Chamber member would later claim that they knew about Pokemon Pink well before the source code leak, but had withheld this knowledge from the public because there, quote, wasn't much to work with. At this point, it had become clear that Helix Chamber, Ganix, and Team Space World had all legitimately hoarded either data or knowledge to varying extents. However, this fact was taken by VP.
Okay, but that's not a bad thing though, because let's say Shades a fan, fucking Game Freak realized you have the details on Pokemon Pink and have all these ROMs and stuff like that. And all you did was say something on Twitter that you had them and whatnot. You're going to get in trouble for having those ROMs. But nah, as long as you don't resell ROMs, data sharing should be fine. And this is what's going on right now. Even though it's a leak, it's all just data sharing. Nobody's selling or buying any of the products that are here or whatnot. It's usually just people getting like unsupported stuff that for free. But it's also a lot of source code in a lot of those games or whatnot. And yeah. So you don't want any source code. That's why in the fighting game community, Tekken didn't want to do the whole rollback thing because they have to make this shit kind of open source. And they didn't want to make that for like the longest fucking time. But they did it anyway. GG's.
Tall tales about how any combination of the three parties were hoarding apparently untold quantities of protos from the public. These theories were lent credibility by the fact that at this point, many unleaked materials were known to exist, compiled into a supposed master list by one Anon. threads about beta Pokemon were now increasingly preoccupied with irate ramblings about hoarders. The primary target of this hatred was none other than Ganix. One post that captures the sentiment of the time reads, quote, "People that do this are irrational. They do not care about things like history, greater good, etc., and will continue to destroy valuable..."
These motherfucking rats only care about getting the data and just wanted to play it. Fucking rats.
One-of-a-kind things if it means anyone other than themselves can enjoy it. You need to understand that these people are egotistical and irrational. They don't have the morals or beliefs people like us do. On VP, Ganix was public enemy number 1, and his actions soon following would only worsen this perception. On
But
April
Ganix is gone,
24th,
right?
An Anon on VP
Hey, what's up,
posted
Banshee?
a GoFile link, simply
Welcome back.
writing, "Enjoy." What lay behind that link was arguably the biggest leak thus far.
Why am I
If
getting
it
such
had
an
just
influx of people
contained
today?
the
Usually I'm at
Gen 2
zero.
source code and localizations, it would have been exciting. If it had just contained Space World 99 and all of its beta Pokemon, it would have been
Oh, I want that sprite so bad. In Pokemon Fusions, you fuse 2 Whompers together or a Whomper and a Mudkit, you get this.
insane. If it had just contained hundreds of gold and silver development builds, it would have been nearly unfathomable. But on top of all that, it had an internal backup containing some of the most bizarre beta Pokemon sprites to date.
Look at this shit, bro. Hold on. Let's look this shit up, actually. F11. Let's see. Beta PKM sprite. So look at a lot of these. I'm able to zoom in. We are on Reddit, so like, we are on Reddit, so I'm not gonna really show that much of Reddit, but I do have a lot of stuff on here that's not safe for work. But I don't care. But no, look at all these fucking. So, is that what that was? The little cactus thing. Then we have this. Then we have the Mudkip line. We have the Kronoc and Polyslime line. Entei and whatever the fuck this is, and the rest of them. Wow. Steelix with the Cubone. Where? Steelix. I don't see it. Hold on, I gotta make it smaller. Is it big enough? Because I can't really see shit. Where's Steelix? Oh wow, that looks nice. Oh, this would have been ice type? Oh, that's cool. Then we got the Completely Lost, Unused Evolutions. Completely Lost. Unused Evolutions. Oh, I'm gonna find it. It's just gonna take me and make some like line by line here. Ugh, the fucking picture looks ugly. But now let's leave from Reddit. Here we go. This is way much more better. Wait, isn't this fake? I think this is a fake ones, right? No, because it has these in there. Yo, look at the sprites. That's cool. All right, here we go. Oh, that's a lot. Oh, that's a fucking lot. I like the Mew sprite. I always, you know what I always hated about the Mewtwo sprite? It always like this dude had 2 necks for no reason. And then this is a really good fucking sprite. I wish we got this except for the one on the bottom because the top one looks really fucking good. Can I make this bigger? No, I want to make it bigger. No, let me make it bigger. There. Oh, that's perfect. All right, let's see who didn't make it. Papa, the top. So that's that line. And then there's this line we could have got a fucking Flareon lookalike. And then we got that line with the fucking Asuka, Karina, Hoot Hoot. And Bobo. Ooh, wow. So I forgot what Pokemon is his name right here, but that's a big fucking advancement from the one that we got from this one right here. Then we got the Fampi line, and then we got some random ass Vulpix Pokemon, and then we got the weird ass Tangela. That's like unknown faces with the Tangela hair. Huh. Okay. Then we got this weird thing. We already know what that one is. The evolved form, or is just that? That's so weird. Then we got the Pichu, Cleffa, Igglypuff line, and then we have the Quagsire line. Yeah, Quagsire is gonna be one Pokemon? Noctowl. Yeah. We got the Natsu and Zatu. Oh wow. The Zatu sprites looks okay. The bane of my existence. I hate this fucking Pokemon. Globpin? The fuck? What is this? It's supposed to be. Oh, it's the baby Pokemon to fucking Godin. Mabu, Kari, Godoros. Oh, it's that one Pokemon. Oh wow, that was here. So this Pokemon, I think it's a Gen 2 Pokemon or Gen 3. I don't remember. That's crazy. It's a Clamperl evolution. Let's see. We got the Crobat. I don't know what the fuck this is. Parapower. Power. I am saying this wrong. And we got the fucking what is this spider Pokemon? It's the one that gets like poison bug at the end. It looks really fucking cool. I know its evolution starts with A, but I forgot what Spinner. No, is it Spinnerack? No. We just gonna keep going. Then we got the Umbreon, Espeon. I don't know. Oh, that's Ponyta? What? Sweet Ponyta in Gen 2. That's crazy. Let's see. I'm going too far down. This is like a horror show right here. Both of these look like horror shows. And Sunflora didn't have a Didn't Sunflora's pre-evolution wasn't Spinnerack, yeah. But what didn't Sunflora have like a pre-evolution or some shit like that? Or was it just like a Sunflora in Gen 2? This shit looks so funny right here. Skamari looks really good. Fampi looks really good. Let's see how Dolphin looks like. Oh, it looks really good. Badoo? Badoo's I thought that was Roselia. It had a pre-evolution. Oh, probably Gen 3 pre-evolution. And then we got this. This is probably going to be evolution of this one right here. Oh, wow. That's so dumb. They could just give us evolution. Now look, a pre-evolution to Meowth. This looks new. But Smuggle looks good. Tail looks a little bit more smaller. Polytoad. Yeah, get Poly. Oh, wow. Look at fucking Slowking. That's a good sprite. Then we got the unknown. Let's see. Labia. Mitsubishi. Mitsubashi. Then we got the pre-evolution to Ponyta. Espeon and Umbreon looks really good. Umbreon looks really fucking good. What Pokemon is this? Is this supposed to be the head of Slowking? It looks like it. And then we get like a pre-evolution of Ditto, what it looks like. It has a little nose or whatnot. Then we get Raymond and then Octillery. Then we get what the fuck that is. So I just want to really go through this shit. Hypnotop. Oh, Growlithe was supposed to have a pre-evolution? That's so adorable. Hoppit, Skiploom, and I forgot what this one is. Oh wow, Electabee, Mr. Mind, and so Mr. Mind, Jinx, Electabuzz, and Magmar all had pre-evolutions, but we only got the 3. We never got the Mr. Mind one. We didn't get Mind Junior until like I think Gen 3, right? The next pre-100, the next 100. and pre-evolved forms. Oh. No, that's cool. Milk tank and that. Oh wow! Imagine running up to this on Bellsprout Tower. Like instead of getting the victory bell, you get an auto evolution when this evolves into this, and then we get a fire version of Seal, Delibird. Whatever the fuck these two are. But Growlithe was the puppy. LOL. I know. I just want a smaller puppy. Smaller puppies looks adorable. Oh shit! Houndour and Howdoom looks amazing, and they're like fucking backside their coat looks like much more thicker than it is in the game. All right, so this is a weird Pokemon. Then we get a doll Pokemon. What? So this is supposed to be either a Banette, or what's Mimikyu? That's crazy. It looks like when you use Curse on the Ghost Pokemon, that's what it looks like here. And then this is probably an evolution of this. That looks like a panda. It's an undead panda. We got Murkrow, you know, has pre-evolution happening. We got the baby version of Chansey. Oh, that is an ugly ass Pokemon. Then we get Scizor, which looks fucking amazing. Had eyes on his fucking claws. I forgot what Pinsir evolution is called. Then we got the Howdoom line. And then we got this that became a Pokemon in like Gen 4, I believe, in the snow area. Oh, this looks cool. And then we got Licky Licky. Helix looks fucking cool. Yo, is that a Leafeon in the bottom right here? No way, that's Leafeon. Snubble, Togepi, Ho-Oh, Taru? Oh, this is that one Pom-Pom Pokemon, not Pom-Pom, that one monkey Pokemon. Where is Celebi and stuff? You don't get those? Wait, Cadria, Rai, and so Raikou, Entei, Suicune. But who is this one? That's Ho-Oh. Where's Lugia? What? We don't get a Lugia? This is probably what Celebi was supposed to be at first, but we don't get a Lugia? That's crazy. Yeah, let's get oh, there's more. Oh wait, no, this is the stuff we already went through. But anyway, let's get back to the video. We're almost done.
It would have been nearly unfathomable, but on top.
All right, fam. I forgot what I was gonna ask you. Ash was fighting against it in final battles. Oh, cool. Yo, that Ice Mine is wild. Yeah, it is.
Top of all of that,
like Ice Cream, Loki.
It had an internal backup containing some of the most bizarre beta Pokemon sprites to date.
Yo, what is this? What is this? Yo, what is that?
Gen 2's development had been torn right open in a way no other Pokemon game had. All that, plus an official Game Boy emulator made by Nintendo. Also, shout out to Beta Celebi from this leak. She's adorable, and I want to...
So, you're telling me that Nintendo was doing emulators for all this shit back in the day, but they want to get mad at other people having open source emulators for their shit. Okay, I see how it is.
To see some love for her in the comments. If you call her Cancer B, I'll never forgive you. On Hall of Origin, people were discussing the leak when Ganix would post a series of shocking screenshots. He would write, quote, "F it, old pics. Posting this here for completeness. They're all deleted from my computer. Here's what you can probably look forward to though if you're into all this leak stuff." He then posted screenshots of both Mystery Dungeon and Fire Red Leaf Green debug ROMs, as well as folders on a computer relating to Pokemon Ranger. He would later delete these screenshots. Many months later, Sankui would clarify, quote, "The screenshots he posted were the same screenshots Riley, Zamus, had made and shared with me, so I believe Ganix didn't have the actual files, just those exact screenshots," and he explained himself poorly. In all likelihood, everything of substance Ganix was given had been leaked, aside from Gen 4 source code, and he really had deleted everything Zamus had given him. The same held true for Team Space World and Helix Chamber. Despite this, through over a year of bad blood, miscommunication, and a bit of hoarding, VP would not soften towards them. From here on out, the pace of leaks becomes so rapid that mentioning them all is untenable. By this point, they've become so common that a meme begins about how leaks are supposedly scheduled every Friday. Some highlights include a Mew event trading ROM for the 3DS Virtual Console, Gen 7 Pokemon debug ROMs.
I figured it out. The way how you can make an MMO of Pokemon, sorry, I know I'm going back to this. The way how to make an MMO of Pokemon is have the gyms adjust to your level for certain levels. So like, let's say the whole game's open world, right? The game's 100% open world. You go to each fucking region freely, right? But like, it has all the other gimmicks, right? There's one Elite Four though. There's only one throughout the whole fucking game, and it's going to be like a slog to get there, right? But let's say you go to each island and get only the first gym badge for each island, or each continent or whatever, each region. It should grow with your level, and also level should be like 200. Just like or not even that, just remove level system and just base it off like you still would have the experience system, but you won't have the level system anymore, but your mons still get experience and whatnot. So like, let's say if they level up a few times without showing their level or whatnot, they still end up learning moves because they leveled up with that experience. Or just make experience a fucking slog to get through, bro. Like, you only get experience to doing gym battles and not wild battles. And like, make every single legendary and mythic Pokemon just an event Pokemon or like some kind of raid shit. I only have one trainer only catch like those one Pokemon, since it's only like one of them in the world. Like imagine getting a Victini. You're the only person in the whole MMO that has a Victini. You have that title over your head. And also, they should allow, also too, if they do this, Nintendo should allow us to like transfer our Pokemon from the mainline games to the MMO and vice versa. But then again, that'd be way too much work.
And N64 tech demos, though that's barely scraping the surface. Most of
N64 tech demos is wild. Imagine we got Pokemon Sun and Moon on fucking the N64.
Here's what you can probably look forward to though if you're into all this leak stuff. He then posted screenshots of both Mystery Dungeon and Fire Red Leaf Green debug ROMs, as well as folders on a computer relating to Pokemon Ranger. He would later delete these screenshots. Many months later, Sankui would clarify, quote, "The screenshots he posted were the same screenshots Riley, Zamus, had made and shared with me, so I believe Ganix didn't have the actual files, just those exact screenshots," and he explained himself poorly. In all likelihood, everything of substance Ganix was given had been leaked, aside from Gen 4 source code, and he really had deleted everything Zamus had given him. The same held true for Team Space World and Helix Chamber. Despite this, through over a year of bad blood, miscommunication, and a bit of hoarding, VP would not soften towards them. From here on out, the pace of leaks becomes so rapid that mentioning them all is untenable. By this point, they've become so common that a meme begins about how leaks are supposedly scheduled every Friday. Some highlights include a Mew event trading ROM for the 3DS Virtual Console, Gen 7 Pokemon debug ROMs, and N64 tech demos, though that's barely scraping the surface. Most of the leaks up to a certain point had been met with some skepticism, but now the amount of effort it would take to fake the leaks had become so Herculean that few doubters remained. In response to someone asking if the Space World 99 leak was real, Ananon writes, quote, I faked it. I reverse engineered the gold, silver, and crystal source code and intentionally made the priv ramming super incompetent.
The priv ramming?
I then proceed to do that 600 more times with very minor tweaks to the translation, also as a joke. I then wrote code by Iwata that wasn't incompetent as a joke. I also made a new bad Game Boy emulator as a joke. I then drew hundreds of sprites ranging from barely started to completely finalized, and wrote dex entries and fake moves for everything as a joke.
Which is crazy. Imagine somebody had the time on their hands. The time and fucking willpower. You need a team to do all this bullshit. Just all for a joke. The joke would have to be at somebody else's expense too, because that would be super petty to do all this shit just for a joke. Imagine trolling 4chan for all this shit, bro. Which is crazy.
And I did this in 6 languages as a joke. You all fell for it. It immediately becomes a copy pasta. On May 18th, the Gen 3 source code leaked. The next day, Saintqui announces in Pret that Clean Room is dead. Just 4 days later, the Gen 4 source code followed suit. The source code for all of the first 4 Pokemon games was now publicly available. And then, the big one. On July 24th, what may very well be the most infamous leak in gaming history happened. The CVS repository for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl contained—
Oh no! So, speedrunners, get ready.
the source code for not just one, but multiple development builds of the games. Beta Pokemon for Gen 4.
What the fuck?
But multiple development builds of the games. Beta Pokemon.
Yo, that looks like shit. That really looks like shit. I'm so happy we got the finished product of that Pokemon, because that's one of my favorite Pokemon, even though anybody barely use it. Like, I hate the fact that grass Pokemon get like grass starter Pokemon get like a bad rep and shit like that because of how bad their art style looks like.
Pokemon for Gen 4, the original files that Ganex had found the gender differences in, source code and prototypes for SNES games, including Yoshi's Island, F-Zero, and Star Fox 2, cancelled plans for a Pokemon MMO, the demo for the cancelled game Super Donkey, and much more. Immediately, 4chan users knew they had to document everything in this leak. A Google Doc was started by someone going by the Frozen Star to compile research. At the top of the doc, they decided to give the leak a name, one that would go down in history: the GigaLeak, or rather, the Nintendo GigaLeak. The Nintendo GigaLeak was so massive that every peripheral detail was forgotten. The fact that the name started from this specific document is barely known to begin with. Even more shocking is the presence of 2 words on the original Nintendo GigaLeak post. Fuck Ganex.
No!
Once upon a time, there was the Nintendo GigaLeak. The next day, there was the GigaLeak 2. And from there, it was an entire era of near-constant leaks for various Nintendo games, up until the end of 2020. Then, on July 20th, 2021, the post-GigaLeak era had one last hurrah, with the final major batch of 10 leaks in one day, all on the same thread. To some people, the story begins precisely here on July 24th, 2020, probably as a hazy, half-remembered ordeal. If you're lucky, maybe they'll remember that Zamus Clark did the hack instead of Ryan Rocks. No, really, Zamus is the unluckiest person on Earth. The fact that he's constantly confused with a sex offender is a worse punishment than his SCPO. Ryan only got the middle 2 of those letters, and even if they correctly tell you Zamus was the hacker, they'll probably only constantly confused with a sex offender is a worse punishment than his SCPO. Ryan only got the middle 2 of those letters, and even—
That's a good joke. That's a really good fucking joke. That's funny as fuck.
And if they correctly tell you Zamus was the hacker, they'll probably tell you he had 2.5 terabytes. I mean, at least Ryan probably did. Not of Nintendo games, though. But staring people right in the face the whole time were those 2 words. Fuck Ganex. 2 words born from months of spite that have been all but forgotten. Yet all you need to do to discover the story is to ask yourself one question. Who's Ganex? And from there, you just need to let—
Oh shit! That has been the question Estas es una gran translación. What do you want me to translate? I'm gonna copy this and then I'm gonna fucking Google Translation. This is a great product. Thanks, bro.
At the clock
I
rewind.
know I'm being a terrible host for this shit, but like, thanks, fam. Oh, we're going back. We're going back to the North Korea
You'll
hack.
Find yourself back on March 18th, 2006. On that day, Zamis registered his account on a little-known website called Glitch City Laboratories. 14 years later, he would help kill it.
Oh, let's go. Glitch City Research Institute. Let's go.
According to Abwayax, he had been making plans to give up his role as GCL's head admin potentially as early as 2012. However, this wouldn't come to fruition until April 2nd, 2019. Abwayax would become just another member of the site, though maintained his role as web host. Two head admins would take his place, Torchickens and Photon Phoenix. But this wasn't the only upheaval going on behind the scenes in
You know what? I wouldn't mind being an admin of a site and just be like a normal user. Instead of just like, even though I would still be older, I would mind just be a user. Like, I'll give it to other people and just like, low key have them get paid and stuff like that for it and stuff,
GCL at this time. The year prior, some staff members had been demoted for inactivity, as well as one being demoted for behavioral reasons. Over the following year, at least 2 staff members would be banned, including Zamis. In the replies to a GCL post regarding the other staff members' ban, a user would write, "Is there something I missed, or are we just hemorrhaging members?" Perhaps this was written in part because 5 days prior, Photon Phoenix announced he would be taking an extended hiatus. On February 26th, Torchickens would step down from head admin, writing that she felt unsafe after the recent bans of controversial members and the scrutiny the site was receiving thanks to Ganix and Zamis. This meant that the site's one remaining head admin was on hiatus, and according to Torchickens' post, still largely inactive. Because of all this, it would be unfair to claim that Zamis was the sole reason why GCL died, but his role in it was undeniable. On July 12th, 2020, Photon Phoenix would upload a post to GCL entitled, "See you, Space Cowboy." It read, quote, "In an effort to preserve the 16 years of cleanroom research on GCL following the source code leaks of the first 4 generations of Pokemon games, we will be reverting the wiki to March 31st on the affected articles. Additionally, the wiki will then be completely locked, archived, and exported to a format that is easily importable to a fresh MediaWiki installation. 2 weeks after the archival, the forums will also be locked and archived. On July 31st, the current Discord will remain open. However, the current on-topic channel
Love all the threads. See you, Space Cowboy. I love that.
Will be archived. The purpose of the Discord as a glitch research area effectively derailed, and the ownership handed off. The goal of this process is to allow a new community to form in GCL's place. Since the source codes were leaked, any new contributions to the first 4 generations Pokemon games, and to an extent Generation 5, would always carry a risk that the contributor would be providing tainted data by reading from the source code themselves. Rather than accepting this fact, allowing this data to intermingle with our research from the last 16 years, it was decided to pass along our work to any community willing to continue it, with the knowledge that any further contributions would always...
Oh, shit! So this is what happened. So to give people to understand the shorthand of this, imagine you work for, you want to do research for the Pokemon game, right? To see how the source or whatnot, right? You have no source code and everything like that, right? You have built up 16 years of research of all this data, all this shit that you found out or whatnot, for the source code just to be dropped. Damn, that's crazy. I couldn't be me. I was still probably I'll probably be like, hey, this is our chance to look at the source code, compare our data or whatnot, see what we got right, see what we got wrong.
Come from dubious origins. This is the end of operations of Glitch City's laboratories. However, this is the beginning of the greater Glitch City metropolis. Aboyax himself would add to the post, citing burnout and mental health issues among staff members as another leading cause of the site's death. The replies were mixed. Some people didn't understand why the site needed to shut down because of Zamis and Ganix's mistakes. Others wrote emotionally about their fond memories on GCL, and how it forever changed the course of their lives. As if the universe itself was laughing at them, a mere 12 days after this post, the Nintendo Giga Leak happened, making even more source.
You know what's funny? I love this picture, how it's just a cat with a knife with a dog, and the dog looks terrified. The cat's like, fight me, bitch. This is so adorable.
Code for Gen 4 public. On September 1st, 2020, both the wiki and forum for Glitch City Laboratories went offline. In its place, a static HTML dump remains, an archive carved into the annals of internet history. But with the death of one site, another was born. Nowadays, glitchcity.wiki carries on the torch of GCL, continuing 2 decades of research, even considering how messy the room is now. The GCL Discords too has been archived, in its place giving way to the Glitch City Research Institute server, currently owned by Haunter in the Dark. For now, however niche and however much turmoil the community has been through, Glitch City survives. After 2021, new leaks resulting from Zamis' Nintendo hack slowed to a mere trickle. Most recently, on or around December 23rd, 2024, an IQ email dump thought to be from the hack was leaked, but it seems that nearly everything Zamis pilfered has been released by now. Gone are the days of hoarding. There is scant left to hoard.
Unless...
On August 5th, 2024,
I knew it.
Zamis Clark joined the Glitch City Research Institute Discord server under the name Ryrie. His internet history was no longer monitored, and his SCPO had expired earlier that year. He came bearing a remote code execution for Ultra Sun and Moon. He writes, quote, I know people suggested I should join the Discord, but I seriously feel like someone would ban me for my role in the death of GCL, lol. Like, I don't really want to register for the wiki either, even though I should.
No, oh fuck. Now that would be, I'm sorry, I know I inadvertently fucked up your whole thing, but that's funny as fuck. Don't imagine you destroy a whole website, right? And fucking you're like, ah, fuck, I fucked up a whole website on accident. Oh well, let me join Discord and rub it in their face. That's crazy. I'm probably getting that wrong or whatnot, but like, that's crazy.
Just to document that RCE exists in Gen 6 through 7. But despite everything, few people seem to hold a grudge, or even name the situation to him all that often. To this day, Zamis remains in Glitch City Research Institute, where he posts on a somewhat regular basis, though he's as obsessed with web security and technology as he ever
That's so recent, I hate it here.
was. For the time being, it seems like Zamis' illegal hacking days are behind him. Perhaps me giving the simple leaking of gaming protos such a supernatural mystique as the Cascade is cheesy or corny or cringy or any number of things. But to me at least, it feels fitting. Because at the end of it all, with everyone freed from the Cascade's grasp, I, and perhaps those involved with the story as well, can't help but sit here in amazement wondering, how the hell was so much chaos caused by just a few pixels?
Alright, that was Crunchy Vagel's 2-hour fucking video on how 2 fucking pixels fucked the whole community up. Now, VP's wild. 4chan don't ever change, bro. Don't ever fucking change. But no, thanks for everybody for coming to the stream. I have been streaming for damn near 3 hours now. I'm tired. It's already like late at the night and it's Tuesday. But I might come tomorrow. I might not come tomorrow. It depends on how much I come. But with that said, deuces. But no, thanks for everybody for coming to the stream now. Shit was fun. Shit was really, really fucking fun. I kind of stopped hitting the wrong button. Dead ass. The music playing? Yeah, the music is playing. But no, dead ass. I gotta stop fucking hitting the wrong button. But no, Thriller, thanks for coming. Vonshi, thanks for coming. Miss Payday, thanks for just lurking. I still had to make that button for you. Say May, thank you for coming to the stream, fam. Everybody else who came inside the stream, popped in, popped out, thank you. But I gotta get the fuck out of here, fam.
The mic, these nuts said, please squeeze us. We told him, hold up, after the punchline. Single file rappers with dull rhymes and ugly signs. In the ring with the frizzy bear and grizzly bear. He win the thing with an exquisite rare dizzy stare. Give me a here, I'll show you how to do it right. When he put the mask on, he's cool and tight and stupid like. True story, you could